I'm Vicki Barker. Ebola, no longer an outbreak, but an epidemic.
I'm deeply concerned about the scale and the speed of the epidemic.
WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says at least 130 in the Democratic Republic of Congo and beyond are dead, at least 500 infected.
These numbers will change as field operations are scaling up, including strengthening surveillance, contact tracing, and laboratory testing.
At least one American infected. He's being treated in Germany, where his colleagues and family members have also been flown. After 3 men were shot dead at an Islamic school and community center in San Diego yesterday.
Today, our city was shaken by a violent act of hate here at the Islamic Center of San Diego. And my heart is with every person that is impacted by this horrific tragedy.
Mayor Todd Gloria, the 2 teenage suspects were later found dead in a car. One of their mothers had called police, warning them he was suicidal and had taken her car and weapons. That fast-moving wildfire is still raging out of control in Southern California. CBS's Matt Gutman reports.
That wind-driven brush fire erupted in Simi Valley, about 40 miles northwest of downtown Los Angeles, scorching over 700 acres and destroying several structures and forcing evacuations.
What we bring? The essentials, just thought of my dog, all my stuff for my dog and my laptop for my work.
The fire sent a thick cloud of smoke over Simi Valley as schools in the area sheltered students in place due to dangerous air quality conditions.
Services on the Long Island Railroad resume at noon local time after management and unions reached an agreement ending their strike. CBS's Elijah Westbrook has the latest.
Crews will have to do mandatory inspections throughout the whole system. So they're going to be looking at tracks and other infrastructure to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with over the last few days while this strike was happening, but also getting employees back in position so that way riders can be picked up safely. Until then, the strike contingency plan remains in effect this morning with limited free shuttle buses running during the morning rush.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy has joined EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin to announce new measures to combat PFAS, so-called forever chemicals, in drinking water.
This issue is personal for millions of American families, and it has been personal for me for a long time. For decades, communities were exposed to these chemicals without transparency or accountability.
But in fact, the new measures significantly scale back Biden administration controls. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
It is 6:03, and right now we do have some rain in the region. It's 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The body pulled from the Mississippi River last week has been identified, located along the riverbanks in the Carondelet neighborhood on May 13th, identified as 20-year-old Antonio Arredondo Banda. Banda was first reported missing on May 7th. City police say they do not suspect any foul play at this time.
A cold case from Barry County is reopened. Missouri State Highway Patrol says they're looking into the suspicious death of 14-year-old Justin Hokut of Seligman, Missouri. This is going back to October 9th, 1999. Hokut was last seen alive on that day. His body was found on train tracks near his house about 22 hours later. The Highway Patrol says tips and leads have been provided to law enforcement in recent years, leading to several credible leads.
A day-long public hearing in Franklin County yesterday made clear residents are still uneasy about 2 data centers being built within a few miles of each other.
What's the real purpose of AI? Universal surveillance, universal control.
Hundreds came out, including Franklin County resident Mark McCloskey, to weigh in on the Gray Summit and Pacific projects. Turned out to be another 12-hour or so meeting.
When we are thinking about these data centers and water use, and you have 2 within 5 miles of each other, how is the combined effect of those going to be on the aquifer?
Both projects and proposed county regulations on data centers will come back before the commission at a future meeting.
The city's planning commission, meanwhile, pumping the brakes on a revised plan for regulating data centers in the city, holding off on a vote. This after planning staff returned to the commission with bigger setbacks, tighter generator rules, and a new requirement that any major project win Board of Aldermen approval. City Planning Executive Miriam Keller was candid with commissioners about where things stand with the public.
We are really trying to adapt and address the concerns that we can. The community is still very concerned about these uses.
Keller said the framework as drafted is the most comprehensive set of data rules among the major American cities.
This is serious, but we also feel it is extremely important to make sure that there is transparency in the process, in the budgetary process.
St. Louis Alderman Rasheen Aldridge, chair of the Budget Committee, after they voted to subpoena the state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners. The police board has refused to send anyone to budget hearings, citing the dueling lawsuits between the city and the board over policing dollars. The board wants as much as $333 million. The city budgeted around $220 million.
Alderwoman Alicia Saunier says getting the police board to answer basic questions shouldn't take this.
This is elected leaders just asking for democracy. I wish that we did not have to ask for democracy via subpoena, but this is elected leaders of the Board of Aldermen who are responsible. The people of St. Louis who are supposed to be able to explain to them the fiscal matter and why this dollar that is your dollar goes here and for what purpose.
In a written statement, police board spokesman Mitch McCoy said the board respects the legislative process and is willing to meet with the mayor's office while the courts sort out the funding fight. The aldermanic subpoena orders the police board to appear May 27th.
Upgrades to the St. Charles County Jail will allow them to provide greater treatment to 80% of their population.
Those who suffer from mental illness and substance abuse will now be housed in specific wings for the issues they face. St. Charles County Interim Director of Corrections Robin Edwards explains within the newly finished behavioral health wing, they are able to house people in specific rooms with smaller group rec areas based on their risks.
So the single cells, you're going to be your suicide individuals. The double bunks, this area here, they will have some privileges. These areas over here will have more privileges than those individuals, but they can't all be out at the same time. It's just for safety purposes.
The wing for detainees dealing with substance abuse issues is still under construction, but according to Edwards, is on schedule to open by the end of June. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, adding to the complications of the old St. Alexius Hospital in Dutchtown, parts of the property now have multiple owners. 3 of 4 parcels that make up the old Lutheran School of Nursing on South Jefferson failed to sell last week during the city's land tax sale. So it goes on the rolls of the city's Land Reutilization Authority.
According to the Business Journal, 12 of the properties marked for land tax sale are owned by SA Hospital, which paid back taxes on some of the properties before the sale, so about half could be auctioned. The plan had apparently been for the owner to pay all of the taxes, but that didn't happen, and now someone else owns a chunk, and the city owns some of it.
It is 6:08, and we'll take a break here. Traffic and weather on the way on Total Information AM.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin, WashU Medicine medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Jin, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
What are some of the signs and symptoms of esophageal cancer? When should someone talk to their physician?
The first signs that I typically hear about from my patients, difficulty swallowing. They'll initially start with solids and then progressively get worse. So those are the most alarming signs. And then associated with that, pain upon swallowing. There might be a cough, weight loss. So I think the first step, if you have any alarming symptoms, is talk with your primary care and really ask them if you're appropriate to be screened.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic, converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait, the risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/radio to save 50%. That's legacybox.com/radio to get started and save. LegacyBox.com/radio.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Whoopah! The most mouthwatering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit STLGreekFest.com for full details.
Let's check traffic at 6:10. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, nobody's bothered by much out there so far this morning, Tom. I mean, we still have this one crash off the roadway. There's a couple of them. 70 at 370 turns out that one's westbound, but again, it's on the shoulder, not blocking anything. It looked to me like the right lane was blocked. This one I've been talking about on eastbound 44 west of Six Flags. MoDOT's still out there. I guess they're waiting for a tow truck. But again, traffic's light enough as you head around that bend up the hill toward Six Flags. Really barely just a slowdown. So there's certainly no delays coming through there. We have a little more volume on northbound 55, so I'm starting to see a slowdown approaching 141 headed into the work zone of the Merrimack. Also looks a little busier between Bayless and Weber. Northbound 270 through the Clayton Road overpass heading up to 64. That's starting to slow down just a bit as well. Have a report of a stalled auto in the left lane southbound New Florissant underneath 270 up in North County right now as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have a flood watch until 1 this afternoon. It'll be rather cloudy and humid today with a couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm moving through the high 76. Tonight, cloudy and cooler, a shower or two, perhaps a rumble of thunder early, low 56. Tomorrow, clouds giving way to some sun and even cooler, the high 69. More clouds and sun Thursday, high 70 to 74. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is cloudy and 67 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 6:12. Demolition began yesterday in North County to build a facility for pet owners. An excavator began tearing apart an automotive shop located at 11755 Benham Road despite the rain. The site will eventually be home to a new campus of the Animal Protective Association of Missouri.
So the buildings will be completed in two phases. There are going to be two different buildings. The first one is 22,000 feet, and that will include our adoption centers. There will also be a state-of-the-art veterinary center. There will also be pet owner support services.
President and CEO Sarah Javier says the construction of the first building is expected to be finished by spring of 2027.
Once SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital opens late next year, it will feature the region's first fully integrated maternal and newborn care center.
The president of SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, Dr. Hussein Morandi, says right now too many families, especially those moms with complex pregnancies, experience fragmented care where they end up being separated from their newborn baby.
Here in this new center, everything is co-located. That includes level 4 NICU, maternal fetal medicine, pediatric surgery, fetal surgery, and all the adult subspecialists that the mom would need to be able to care for her. And this is really unique because mom and baby can finally stay together. The only facility where a mom and a NICU level baby can be in the same room when clinically appropriate.
This unit will take up 4 of the 14 floors in the new Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, which is expected to open in late 2027. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
1 in 10 college-age women in St. Louis experience period poverty every month. The term is being used to describe the inability to afford menstrual products, an issue plaguing women in St. Louis. Muriel Smith, executive director of the St. Louis area Diaper Bank, says since most federal assistance programs don't include period products, some women are left with no options.
A lot of time is if they can't afford them, they're using other substitutions like towels or paper towels or toilet paper, those things that really in the long run are not very hygienic. So that also affects their health.
The Diaper Bank hosted a variety of community events over the weekend to raise money, awareness, and collect products for local women in need.
The new owners of an historic St. Louis blues landmark are offering a sneak peek of its rebirth this week. We get more from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
BB's Jazz, Blues, and Soups is hosting a public pre-opening event tomorrow at noon at 700 South Broadway. The preview features live music from the Funky Butt Brass Band and Marquise Knox. The owners are also debuting a new Southern-inspired menu featuring items like brisket cornbread dippers and smoked duck fried rice. Steve Sullivan and Marquise Knox will offer remarks and take questions.
Meanwhile, the St. Louis Blues are building their hockey team back to being a winner in 26-27. The Buffalo Sabres, unfortunately for them, have to go back to the drawing board as well. They lost in Game 7 last night to the Montreal Canadiens. The Buffalo Sabres playing at home. They've never won a Stanley Cup, and that streak continues. They fell last night 3-2 in overtime. Alex Newhook scored his second Game 7 winning goal of the postseason. He drove up the left wing, snapped a shot through a screen that beat the goaltender, and the Canadiens win it 3-2 over the Sabres. This is the second time Newhook has done it. He scored the decisive goal in Game 7 against Tampa Bay as well. As for the Cardinals, this Redbird Report sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. Cardinals play tonight. They are home against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and at noon, Ollie Marmol will join us on KMOX on the Gas House Gang, as he does every Tuesday, and he'll update us on Mason Wynn, who was pulled from the game Sunday with a knee injury.
You got a medical update on Mason? What did he do there?
Yes, felt a little discomfort in his left knee, more precautionary than anything. They didn't want to push through it, so they took a look at it during the end of that game, and kind of day-to-day at the moment. We'll see how he comes in tomorrow.
Was that on the swing, or was that while he was running?
While he was running, yeah.
Just offensively, a lot of ground outs today. What did you see from just kind of your guys' approach?
Yeah, their guy did a nice job, man. Ball's moving quite a bit. Good sinker, was cutting it. Good secondary stuff. Kept us off balance. Not a whole lot of hard contact, and definitely unable to string it together today. But yeah.
That was Ollie Marmol after losing 2-0 to the Kansas City Royals on Sunday. They had the day off yesterday, but they picked up a half game because the Brewers beat the Cubs 9-3. So the Cardinals currently sit a game out in the National League Central. They trail the Cubs. The Brewers are just a half game out, and look at this schedule the rest of the month. The Cardinals host the Pirates for 3. They go to Cincinnati for 3, Milwaukee for 3, and then the Cubs are in for 3 games, a 12-game stretch against NL Central foes for the rest of this month. St. Louis City SC will play in the U.S. Open Cup as they take on the Houston Dynamo at Energizer Park with a chance at the semifinals. This is a great opportunity to get tickets. Weather forecasts are a little iffy today, but we'll keep an eye on it. 7 o'clock start at Energizer Park. That game is actually going to be on CBS Sports Network tonight, St. Louis City SC and the Houston Dynamo. Victor Wembanyama, 41 points and 24 rebounds last night in the NBA's Western Conference Finals Game 1 as San Antonio beat Oklahoma City 122-115 in double overtime. Oklahoma City, the defending NBA champion. Now they're going to have to steal one in San Antonio. Tonight, it's Game 1 in the East. It's Cleveland at New York as the Knicks host Game 1 at Madison Square Garden. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470. Or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Working families are being impacted by higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's costs, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition. Coalition.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20, and it's time for us to get you a check of the roadways and the weather. It's just, again, kind of a gray, gloomy morning, but we'll get the details on that. Let's see if things are smooth on the roadways. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, so far they're wet, but nothing terrible right now, Debbie. Getting a little busier, of course. Northbound 55 has a brief slowdown in McNutt. It's bogged down south of 141 up to the Merrimack in the work zone, and it's bogged down again from Bayless all the way through Virginia. If you're getting on North 270 from 55, you're in good shape till you get up north of 64, really Clayton Road up to, or north of Manchester rather, Clayton Road up to 64, starting to slow down there. Out west, we still look good. Southbound 61, eastbound 64, eastbound 70 from the split in Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges is fine, and starting to see a little slow traffic on westbound 64 at 159 at Metro East as well. Just a little busy right there, but after that, it's good to go across the Poplar and Musial Veterans bridges. And the last check, we still had a stall. Southbound New Florissant under 270 had left lane blocked, but a light enough traffic. It's really not much of an issue, I don't think, right now. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Hey, let's check that weather forecast. We have a flood watch in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon, says Joe Lundberg from the AccuWeather office. Cloudy and humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm today, a high of 76 degrees. Remember, any thunderstorm can produce flash flooding, not to mention localized damaging wind gusts. I know some people lost power yesterday. Tonight, cloudy and cooler with a shower or two, even a thunderstorm around early, low 56. Tomorrow, cooler, less humid, clouds breaking for some sun, and a high of 69 degrees. Currently, it's 68 in downtown St. Louis.
As we continue on KMOX, Michael Calhoun with you. And of course, we've been following the latest when it comes to data centers. It seems like from O'Fallon to O'Fallon, all across the St. Louis metropolitan area, Festus has been a flashpoint for this. And we've got a new development when it comes to recall petitions for several members of the elected government in Festus. Joining us right now is one of those citizens who's really been involved with this, with the group Wake Up Jeffco, Sherman Doyle. Thank you so much for being with us, Sherman.
Oh, my pleasure, Mike.
So first of all, catch us up on, there's so many data centers proposed for so many different parts of the area. What is proposed in Festus? What is at issue here?
Well, so it's now a $6 billion project that Clayco CRG has been trying to put in basically in my backyard here in Ashford Place down in Festus. And so this came about in November. We found out, and we've been fighting ever since. As you know, April the 7th, we, as a city, we have pounded the streets, and we got out the vote. We voted out all of the incumbents, and the promise that we made to the existing council members who had all been involved with getting this passed and pushed through was that we were coming for them with the recall measure, and happy to say that with the hard work of a lot of individuals here in Festus, we have successfully gathered all of the signatures needed, and it was submitted to the county clerk in Hillsborough today. And the recall is moving forward.
Yeah, that made national news, I think, the election where everybody who was on the ballot got swept out after and I believe that data center was finally approved, and so then this would be everybody who wasn't just up for re-election now is subject to a recall?
That is correct. So we had one councilwoman in our Ward 2, Stacy Templeton. She was not up for re-election, but she willingly resigned, surprising to us, which left 3 remaining councilmen and, of course, the mayor. So as of today, all signatures needed across all 4 wards for the existing councilman, and then, of course, the overall city for Sam Richards was submitted.
Is there anything that can be done about the data center approval going forward, or is this simply we're going to hold you accountable so that you remember for the next decision who you answer to?
Great question. Right now, there is a lawsuit with that has moved up to the county. We're still waiting on that. So at the moment, I mean, yes, I think it's been proven that this stuff can be stopped, even where we're at right now. But this lawsuit's really going to help.
From where you sit, why do you think that this has been? I haven't seen an issue like this galvanize people across the political spectrum. I mean, from urban to rural, the city of St. Louis, right by the Arch, to Franklin County and Jefferson County. Why is this such a unifying thing that people are just so opposed to?
I'm 182 yards away from where they're wanting to do this. I've got 3 kids, under the age of 13. And now as time progresses and all of this stuff is starting to come out, people across the board, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, red, blue, if you are northern or southern or east or west, it's everyone's wanting to stop. Just pause. And that's what's sad. Initially, that's what we had asked. Just put a pause on this so we can figure out what's going on.
Well, last thing, what happens from here now that the signatures have been turned in? Does this go automatically to a recall election?
That's a great question. So this is what I've been told is that now that it's been handed over and officially filed with the county clerk in Hillsborough, Missouri, they have 10 days to confirm and verify that. And then from there, it goes forward. I believe they contact the city and then they try to figure out when and where to set up the special election. And then from there, it's kind of, I don't know what it would look like after that. One way or another, though, it would, if it's all verified and certified, all that, which we know will happen, one way or another, there will be an election, special election for the 3 councilmen and the mayor, and I'd assume August, November, and if they have to do something before then that would be on the county.
That's the latest from Festus. Thank you so much to resident organizer, member of Wake Up Jeffco, Sherman Doyle, for keeping us up to date here on KMOX. We appreciate it.
Michael, thank you, and appreciate you guys listening to us.
It is 6:28, and that time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about the Burn Balance Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. And it's Burn Balance Edge for the guys. It's Burn Balance Zen for the women. And what this is very simply a complete metabolism system. It's not just a simple fat burner. It's way more than that. It works with your body to get the metabolism working the way that it's supposed to. So what you notice right away, what I've noticed here in the first couple of months is your shirt will lay a little bit flatter, your pants fit a little bit looser. It's not like that as immediate, but it comes pretty fast. This is a great natural weight loss option for people that don't want prescriptions or injections. If those aren't for you, go to Supplement Superstores and check out the Burn Balance Complex. On top of getting the metabolism working, you're going to get reduced stress with lower cortisol levels. You're going to have appetite control and craving control, all-day focused energy without the jitters that come with energy drinks. And look, it's not magic. You got to do things the right way, but the Burn Balance Complex makes it so much easier. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex for you right there, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Looking for reliable HVAC service in St. Louis? The team at Air Comfort Service handles all your heating, cooling, installation, and residential maintenance needs. Visit aircomfortservice.com or call 314-819-0028 today.
It is 6:30. We've got cloudy skies and 67 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just a moment ago, Tom and Debbie, they call out EMS for a crash northbound 55 near 141. Traffic is slow north of Richardson and actually backs up approaching that Church Street overpass. Then it's better as you get north of 141. So I think the lane restrictions there just south of 141 due to a crash, and EMS are on the way to it right now. Once you get past that point, you're still pretty slow from Bayless all the way up through Virginia. North 270, a little busy north of Gravois, not that bad. It does slow approaching Manchester up to about Clayton Road, and then it seems to sort itself out. Out to the west, we have some slow traffic now. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down onto the 64 overpass, but once you get onto 64 or 70, they both look great coming out of St. Charles County for you so far. And on the Illinois side, things are still in good shape downtown, westbound, headed across the Poplar and Visual Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a kind of gloomy morning. A couple of showers and thunderstorms. Any thunderstorms today could produce some localized damaging wind gusts and some flash flooding. A high of 76. Then a thunderstorm or two around early. Tomorrow, cooler and less humid with clouds breaking for sun. High of 69 degrees tomorrow. Currently downtown, it's 68.
It's 6:32. Franklin County commissioners had hoped to avoid a repeat of the 12-hour meeting they'd previously gone through over data centers. Well, yesterday's meeting lasted 13 hours. They began in the morning and finished at 10 p.m. instead of 4 a.m. like last time. Hundreds turned out all day to oppose two campuses being pitched, one near Shaw Nature Reserve and Gray Summit, the other closer to Pacific. But many question whether the area's rural character can survive that kind of development.
70,000 people visit Shaw Nature Reserve every year. I can just see the new billboard. Come on over, get your free headache, your nausea, and your hypertension.
The Franklin County Commission took no action yesterday.
Families with children in a downtown charter school got the news in a late-night email that the school, Voices Academy of Media Arts, will be shutting down immediately before the end of the academic year. The school in the high-rise Park Pacific at Olive and Tucker was facing an upcoming vote by the Missouri Charter Public School Commission, in which it was widely expected their charter would be revoked.
The school was closed around Thanksgiving after an 8-year-old managed to walk out of the school unnoticed and wandered around downtown alone for about an hour, opening up an investigation into student safety. There were also staffing and operational issues at the school.
That claw machine in Webster Groves is at it again. St. Charles County Police posting on Facebook that one of their off-duty officers rescued a child who was stuck in the Veta Soccer Dome claw machine last week. That officer was at the dome with his family when that toddler got stuck inside. It marks the third kid who's been rescued from that machine in the last couple months. Parents say the prize opening is large enough for toddlers to climb inside.
It's 6:34, and it's a Money Minute upcoming. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
It is 6:35. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you updated on your Money Minute. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Delta Airlines says expect to see another 6 months of higher ticket prices. The carrier has to absorb the cost of soaring jet fuel prices, and airfares are set to be up 10 to 15% for the quarter. Even so, Delta says higher spending consumers are still willing to shell out on trips. Delta has been more shielded from the fallout of higher costs because the company caters to wealthier flyers, more willing to pay increased ticket prices. Checking on your money, traders are waiting for signs of progress toward a peace deal in the Middle East. S&P futures are down 25 points, Dow futures falling 55. Yesterday, it was a mixed close for stocks, with the S&P 500 falling slightly. And electric vehicle owners could soon be paying a new fee. A massive transportation bill made public by House lawmakers would impose new charges on EVs. Owners would pay an annual registration fee of $130, which would gradually rise to $150 every 2 years. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, there are a couple of reasons to remove a tree from your home or property. When a tree becomes hazardous or no longer fits your landscape vision, professional removal protects your home and preserves your property's appeal. And since 1954, Gamma Tree Experts has done just that, providing homeowners and businesses with safe, comprehensive tree removal in St. Louis, backed by certified arborist expertise and full liability coverage. Gamma Tree Experts. Their team evaluates each situation individually to determine the safest removal method while protecting surrounding structures, landscaping, and underground utilities. They do a great job. You can go to gammatree.com and get a free quote. You can give them a call, but I'd just go to gammatree.com and you can get the free quote right there. Not every unhealthy tree requires immediate removal. Gamma Tree Experts understands the conditions and how to make that professional assessment. Gamma Tree Experts since 1954. Gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
With summer here and the kids home full time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Not just Bernie, but we have Ollie Marmol, the Cardinals manager, with us today. This could be one of the best Gas House Gangs ever, because it was Ollie's idea to buy the sections that filled Saturday and Sunday with shirtless fans waving those shirts over their heads, and it has become a trend in Major League Baseball. Can't wait for that, and an update on Mason Wynn. That's coming today at noon on KMOX.
6:40 in time for us to get a check of the roadways and the weather. I do see some clear skies in the downtown area. Just a little. Mostly it's gloomy. Anyway, just trying to be optimistic. We'll have the forecast for you in just a moment with Joe Lundberg, but let's look at the roads here with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a few issues out there right now, unfortunately, Debbie. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. We have that crash northbound 55 at the Church Road overpass there before you get to 141. I believe it's the right lane that's blocked. It's a solid jam at Richardson Road. Once you get past it, it's still heavy pockets from the Union Road overpass up to River to Perrin. Still a little slow toward Virginia. North 270, Big Bend, all the way up to Ladue is pretty slow the whole way along the line there. We have, it looks like an accident in the right lane, northbound 170. Between Delmar and Olive, so traffic's bogging down at Delmar on northbound 170. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 a little slow through 159. And then we have an incident, it looks like a crash on the Poplar Street Bridge. It's a solid jam back to 3rd Street. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. For a while there, I thought we were going to have some problems with this water that was just everywhere yesterday. Tons of rain, but you do have us in a flood watch today until 1 p.m.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we had, 2.5, 3 inches of rain locally with those thunderstorms that came through yesterday. So there's no real place to put any additional rain. Now, the first batch of thunderstorms is weakened and all but fallen apart as it's come through the area, and we're getting a little bit of a break in the cloud cover and in the rain right now, but there's more heavier rain with some embedded thunder and lightning upstream that's moving at us from the south and west. So I'd say between now and early afternoon is when that risk for flooding downpours is at its greatest. Could there be some damaging wind gusts with them? Yes. I think that's going to be the exception to the rule. I'm just more worried about flooding downpours. So keep that in mind if you're going to be out and about at the tail end of the morning rush and into the midday hours. And then I think the rain starts to taper off. We'll get to about 76. Tonight, cloudy, cooler, a leftover shower or two, maybe a rumble of thunder early, the low 56. There may be a shower early tomorrow, then clouds should break for some sun. A cooler day, only 69. Clouds will limit sunshine Thursday, but at least it's dry, the high 70 to 74. Probably going to be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm on Friday. Don't think that's going to be something to renew flooding concerns. The high Friday about 71. Lots of clouds to start the weekend, and there can be a thunderstorm Saturday afternoon, the high about 80. 64 at St. Peter's, 66 in Florissant. I'll kind of call it mostly cloudy, and 68 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is 6:43. Missourians have until May 31st to apply for help paying their utility bills. The state's LIHEAP, or Low Income Energy Assistance Program, provides a one-time payment to help eligible households cover heating or cooling costs. Ken Chapman with the Missouri Department of Social Services tells MissouriNet the program serves about 125,000 households each year and notes last summer's numbers.
With summer crisis, we served about just over 41,500 households with a benefit of around $277. About 64% of those who get crisis are those who are households with a young child.
The deadline for applying, again, is May 31st.
A bill sponsored by Southwest Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson would shift some of the financial burden off of people trying to buy a home for the first time. He tells KZRG Radio in Joplin it would involve buying homes that are currently rental properties.
If you can convert rental homes into homes that people are buying, I think that will be, at the end of the day, we want Americans to have the American dream, and this is one way that we can do that.
Burleson's bill would allow home sellers to divert capital gains taxes they'd owe from selling the house to the home buyer, which the buyer would use for their own down payment. The proposal has not yet been scheduled for a hearing before the House Ways and Means Committee, which is chaired by fellow Missouri Republican Jason Smith.
Now, an update on the speed limit. Missouri drivers could soon have an extra 5 miles per hour to play with on rural interstates if Governor Kehoe signs off. Senate Bill 1408 would raise the limit from 70 to 75 miles per hour on stretches outside major metros. That means no change on, say, 270 here. But for runs to Mizzou or to the Ozarks, the legal ceiling would inch up.
Not everyone thinks that's wise. Dennis was driving to Indiana and talked with Fox 2.
You know, people don't need to go any faster. There's a lot of people out on the road that's older like me that can't be going that fast. It's not safe.
If Kehoe signs, the Missouri Transportation Commission still has the final word on whether the higher limit is safe to get posted. Well, the trend continues in Major League Baseball. They went tarps off last night in the Tampa Bay Rays game. The fans were out in full force. Here's a little sound of that.
Reinforcements on the way.
Does anything say Florida more than what's going on out there?
Well, they were doing it in Busch Stadium over the weekend, and now they're doing it around Major League Baseball again. I recall the Colorado Rockies fans doing this as well. We saw it in college football. It's called tarps off, and you know what? The players absolutely ate it up. The Cardinals players loved every second of it, and they witnessed it as the Cardinals won 2 out of 3 against the Royals over the weekend. That's not all, though. This team has been playing that way for each other and with great enthusiasm all season long, says President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom.
High standards and high expectations. They just think they're keeping their heads down and just getting after it and not really worrying about any of that other stuff or what people think they can or can't do, which is exactly how you want to go about it. Just focus on what you can control and all those cliches, focus on the task at hand and just taking every day as it comes and being prepared and competing relentlessly, and they're doing it. But I'll tell you what, it's just fun when you have that kind of backing from the crowd, and I think these guys have said it. Like, they see it, and it fires them up. So that's really cool.
Cardinals and Pirates tonight, 6:45 at Busch Stadium. Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. I'll tell you who's not, the Chicago Cubs. Their lead in the Central is down to just a half game. They've lost 3 in a row, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. Who's hot? The Milwaukee Brewers. They're 8-2 in their last 10, and they're just a half game out after whipping the Cubs last night at Wrigley 9-3. Now, who's consistent? The Cardinals. They continue to play well. As Chaim said right there, they're only a game out of first, 27-19, and a very good record to start the season in the National League. Also featured downtown tonight, St. Louis City SC.
St. Louis City SC is back home tonight for a U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal against the Houston Dynamo, just 3 days after a physical 1-1 draw at DC United in the club's tightest turnaround of the season so far. It's also City's 4th match in a stretch of 5 games across 15 days before the World Cup break. Head coach Yoann Demey says the club planned ahead for this knockout game by rotating players over the weekend.
We had identified for that last stretch that C was the right game to cut a little bit the schedule in two and have almost like a reset with some of the guys. Looking back, I'm very happy about how we managed that period and the game on Saturday. It allows us to have like some guys a little bit more fresh going into the game.
Demey also confirmed Marcel Hartel is back after missing Saturday's match due to illness, though his Open Cup availability remains uncertain. Tonight's winner advances to the Open Cup semifinal in September. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Montreal Canadiens beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 last night in overtime in Game 7 to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. They'll take on Carolina, and Buffalo has to wait another offseason without a Stanley Cup. San Antonio stole Game 1 in double overtime, 41 points, 24 rebounds for Victor Wembanyama on the road at the Thunder to go up 1-0 in the NBA's Western Conference Finals. St. Louis Composting, they transform organic yard waste, branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost. It's a 6-month static composting process. They are the largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, committed to producing only the best. All of their products are STA certified. They have compost for organic gardening and farming. They have mulch, and I'm talking all different kinds of mulch. We ordered it delivered straight to our home, or you can pick it up at any of their 9 locations. Decorative and protective, that's what mulch does. Covers and placed over soil to conserve moisture. inhibit weed growth, and lessen damage to plants caused by extreme temperatures. And as you well know, we get extreme temperatures around here. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Road trip through America's musical past as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra teams up with the sensational doo-wop project for a night of vintage soul and seamless harmonies. Experience the iconic sounds that shaped American music through the evolution of doo-wop, including favorites like Sherry and Walk Like a Man, along with doo-wopified renditions of modern hits and more. Buckle up for a feel-good celebration that brings generations together, featuring the doo-wop project and your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, May 30th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Aussie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now the news at 1 The Fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
6:51 and time to take a look at traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the very latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got some delays coming up northbound to 55, Debbie. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield, Fensadeck, Richardson Road up to 141 where we had that crash. One of our KMOX commuters said it's on the left shoulder. They had the left lane blocked, I guess, earlier. So thanks for that update. I couldn't see it from either of my vantage points, the crash itself. But the front end of traffic is opening up, so it looks like everything is open. It may be on the left shoulder, but lanes are clear now, it appears. Northbound 55 after that, from Weber up to Holly Hills is slow. Northbound 270 north of Big Bend, a couple of slow pockets headed up to Ladue. Southbound 61 crossing over to 64 out in Wentzville, just a little slow there. We still have this crash northbound 170 between Delmar and Olive, the right lane block, so traffic backs up at Delmar because of it. Downtown, westbound 64 slow, both sides of 159, and then it's jammed from just west of Ball Avenue onto the Poplar. They were trying to clear a crash anyway on the bridge, and northbound Route 3 is backed up to Monsanto because of that as well. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg. It's going to be cloudy and humid today. We are in a flood watch. That's in effect until 1 p.m. with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in play today. Any thunderstorm can produce localized damaging wind gusts and cause flash flooding. A high of 76. Cooler tonight with a shower or two, maybe even a thunderstorm, low 56. Tomorrow, cooler, less humid, clouds breaking for some sun, and a high of 69 degrees. Currently, we have clouds and 68 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:53. It's difficult to put a number on just how many people are displaced due to last May's tornado. Regina Greer with the United Way says some people are in new places, others in homes still being repaired. Another $1.3 million has been made available for ongoing emerging and unmet needs.
The amenities that we enjoy every single day, those are the same things that folks need to stabilize. And so even if it is household goods, beds, there's the home, there's the brick and mortar, there's the physical place, but it's also all the things that have to go into it.
The United for Storm Recovery effort also gave money to several organizations helping with tornado recovery, including Home Sweet Home and 314 Oasis.
Is Missouri's new congressional map in effect or not? That is the question some county clerks are asking themselves. According to Clinton Jenkins, president of the Missouri Association of County Clerks and Election Authorities.
I don't have the same issues because my entire county is changing. So that just entails me going into the voter database and switching it over, which can still be time consuming.
Jenkins, the clerk for Miller County, says the county split among more than one district may not have all the needed information to begin updating voter rolls. That includes Boone County, where the clerk and Secretary of State Denny Hoskins are at odds. Hoskins says all Missouri counties have what they need to base their voter rolls on the new congressional map.
The World Health Organization has declared the current Ebola outbreak in Congo and Uganda a global health emergency. What does that mean if you're traveling soon?
I think the key for us is that we probably don't need to be that worried, but at the same time, be vigilant.
SLU Public Health Associate Dean of Research Enbal Shacham tells KMOX's Total Information AM there could be risks outside of the region where the outbreak is occurring.
So when we think about where you're traveling, we have to also think about the places where our global hubs of travel.
Ebola is highly contagious. It can be contracted via bodily fluids such as vomit, blood, or semen. The disease it causes is rare but severe and often fatal. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
We'll have more on Ebola and the travel warning coming up at 8:24 this morning here on KMOX.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes going out to Grant Wilhelm, Tammy Rademacher, Terry Spring from the Spring family, Tim Blinko from Mom and Dad, and happy birthday wishes to Javad Kazali.
It's the best birthday ever.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Retirement Simplified, May 19th and 21st. It's complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Chrysalis Biosciences in Sauget, Illinois is hiring for multiple roles. Join a fast-growing ethanol plant transforming renewable energy with competitive pay, benefits, and growth opportunities. Apply today and grow your career with Chrysalis at chrysalisbio.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Let's check in with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our problem downtown, Debbie, with our crash westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. Traffic's jammed back onto 5570, pretty close to Exchange. 64, of course, is also heavy. Both sides of 159, we have a crash northbound Route 4, just south of 143, a pretty big backup there. They're still working this crash with the right lane block northbound 170 between Delmar and Olive. Traffic's backed up pretty close to Ladue now on northbound 170. Northbound 270, Big Bend through Doherty Ferry and Clayton Road up to 64. Those are the slow spots. We had that crash earlier. Northbound 55 at the Church Road overpass just south of 141. On the left shoulder, traffic still heavy at Richardson Road. After that, it's just a little slow. Loughborough through Holly Hills. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're looking at 68 degrees with a cloudy sky in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. Franklin County commissioners had hoped to avoid a repeat of a recent 12-hour data center meeting, but yesterday's meeting actually lasted 13 hours. We'll get more at the top of the hour.
I'm Debbie Monterey.
U.S. health officials warn international travelers to be mindful of a deadly Ebola outbreak. I'm Megan Lynch. I'll have details.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy today with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm and a high just 76.
Cardinal baseball tonight as the Cardinals take on the Pirates at 6:45 at noon today. We will have Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. He's been a popular guy over the last few days. On the Gas House Gang, that's coming up.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Vicki Barker. 13,000 people in the path of a California wildfire ordered to leave their homes. CBS's Matt Gutman reports.
Overnight, more than 750 firefighters battled the dangerous and fast-moving Sandy Fire in Simi Valley, California. In the air, swarms of helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft dive-bombed the fire with water and fire retardant through columns of smoke that towered thousands of feet above the threatened suburban communities here.
Our number one priority is getting everyone evacuated in the front of the fire.
Police say they believe the fire started around 10:15 Monday morning when a tractor hit a rock, sparking the flames.
Police in San Diego are investigating yesterday's shooting deaths of 3 men at an Islamic school and community center as a hate crime. The 2 teenage suspects were later found dead. Here's CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti.
The San Diego police saying they were actually searching for one of the suspects hours before this attack. This after the mother called in saying her son was missing and acting suicidal.
The World Health Organization says that Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is now an epidemic. Greg Ram is with Save the Children in the DRC.
I've just come back to Kinshasa from Ituri province, the epicenter of the outbreak. And it's clear that we are just seeing the tip of the iceberg, and we need to get this under control.
Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie says he's not bothered that President Trump has endorsed his challenger in the state's Republican primary.
He knows I'm tough to beat. He's tweeted probably, 8 or 10 times in the last 72 hours. He's literally losing sleep over this race because he's in with both feet.
The Trump administration wants to allow more white South Africans into the U.S. CBS's Michael Wallace has that.
President Trump claims Afrikaners are facing a genocide in South Africa. He confronted President Cyril Ramaphosa with the allegation during a tense Oval Office meeting last year.
They're being executed, and they happen to be white.
Afrikaners told 60 Minutes there is no genocide. Now, CBS News has obtained a State Department request to increase the refugee cap from 7,500 to 17,500 and give the extra 10,000 spots to Afrikaners at a cost of about $100 million. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Well, but 3 of the 6,000 refugees the U.S. has resettled since October were from South Africa. To Alaska now. And lighthouse keepers had long heard the sounds at night, a rumble that rattled windows. Fishermen heard it too. Was it distant machinery or thunder? Now scientists have traced the noise to humpback whales. They don't know why they make that sound. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
At 7:04, we have a cloudy sky and 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. Hundreds of fired-up residents packed East Central College in Union yesterday for a marathon public hearing on 2 proposed Franklin County data centers. one near Shaw Nature Reserve, the other near Pacific.
Data center neighbors have reported headaches, vertigo, nausea, sleep disturbances, ear pain, and hypertension.
Developers behind one of the projects told commissioners the county's proposed regulations are some of the most thorough they've encountered. The Franklin County Commission is expected to take up both projects and the proposed regulations at a future meeting.
A St. Louis planning commissioner says her concern with the city's draft data center rules is not about what they say, but about whether the city can actually carry them out. Commissioner Christina Garmendia.
These are beautiful regulations, but what is our ability to implement them? Thinking about staffing, do we have the staff today that incorporate this into their jobs, or will we need more people?
City Planning Executive Miriam Keller acknowledging additional capacity would help. The proposed rules tighten setbacks, phase in renewable energy use, and require Board of Aldermen to sign off on any large project. The Planning Commission decided to hold off on a vote.
The body pulled from the Mississippi River last week has been identified. Located along the riverbanks in the Carondelet neighborhood on May 13th, that body has been identified as 20-year-old Antonio Ariano Banda. Banda was first reported missing on May 7th. City police say they do not suspect any foul play at this time.
A cold case from Barry County has been reopened. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says they're looking into the suspicious death of 14-year-old Justin Hokot of Seligman from 1999. He was last seen that year on October 9th. His body found on train tracks near his house about 22 hours later. The Highway Patrol says tips and leads have been provided to law enforcement in recent years, leading to several credible leads.
4 aye votes, 1 present.
With that, we have approved the motion to send a subpoena request directed to the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners.
That's the Board of Aldermen Budget Committee voting to compel the state-controlled police board to come and explain its request for increased spending. The police board has been skipping the city's budget hearings, citing the lawsuits in court over how much the city must spend on policing.
Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez says it shouldn't be complicated.
This is basic, frankly, basic Government 101. We have a budget. We should know what's in the budget. You as taxpayers should also know what's in the budget and why.
Police board spokesman Mitch McCoy said in a statement the board hasn't been formally served with the subpoena and its attorneys advise staying out of the hearings while the budget case is pending. This just in, a court hearing is scheduled for today at 1:30 at the Carnahan Courthouse downtown.
From the KMOX Business Desk, families with children in a downtown charter school got the news in a late-night email that the school, Voices Academy of Media Arts, will be shutting down immediately before the end of the academic year. The school, located in our building, the high-rise Park Pacific at Olive and Tucker, was facing an upcoming vote by the Missouri Charter Public School Commission, in which it was widely expected their charter would be revoked.
The school was closed around Thanksgiving after an 8-year-old managed to walk out of the school unnoticed and wandered around downtown alone for about an hour, opening up an investigation into student safety. There were also staffing and operational issues at the school.
It's 7:08, traffic and weather next.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10. Let's get you caught up on traffic and weather right now. We start with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a little bit of good news for downtown drivers. Debbie, coming in from the Illinois side, we had that crash westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge that had the right lane shut down mid-span on the bridge. They just cleared it a couple of minutes ago. It's still a solid jam, though. In fact, westbound 64 is slow from 50 through 159, and then you're jammed on 5570, actually, at Exchange onto 64, and it's crawling all the way up to the Illinois end of the bridge. Like I said, they just cleared it, so traffic's just starting to open up at the front end there. Northbound Route 3 backed up at Monsanto. On the Illinois side, we also have that crash northbound Route 4 just south of 143. Traffic's backed up almost back midway back to Highway 70. Still working the crash. Northbound 170 south of Olive. Traffic's backed up between Ladue and Delmar there. Northbound 270 Manchester up to Ladue is pretty busy. North 55 still slow. Richardson to 141 from an earlier crash, and a couple of pockets from Bayless up through Holly Hills, Virginia. And out west, it looks like we have an incident eastbound 70 just before David Hokel Parkway. Traffic's jammed about midway back to Forest Stell for that one. Eastbound 64 is also a little busy passing Prospect. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We had a lot of water yesterday. What's in store for today? He says a flood watch in effect until 1 p.m. And cloudy and humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. Remember now, any thunderstorm can produce localized damaging wind gusts and cause flash flooding. So that's why we're in a flood watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. A high of 76 today. Tonight, cloudy, cooler with a shower or two, even a thunderstorm around early, low 56. Cooler tomorrow with a high of 69 degrees and less humid. Just looking at the radar, the rain right now is around Herman, Warren County, closing in on Warrenton, and to our south-southwest in the area of Potosi. We are clear at the moment from any precipitation, maybe some light rain falling where you are here and there. Currently, it's 68 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:12. More on data centers. The fight over the one in Festus is pulling in neighbors who don't agree on much else. Voters in the Jefferson County city threw out every council member up for re-election in April over this project, and organizers with the group Wake Up Jeffco now tell KMOX they filed enough recall signatures against the mayor and the rest of the sitting council. KMOX's Michael Calhoun asked resident Sherman Doyle,
why is this such a unifying thing that people are just so opposed to?
It's not just the people that wear the tinfoil hats, as we've been accused of doing. Now, as time progresses and all of this stuff is starting to come out, people across the board, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, red, blue, if you are northern or southern or east or west, it's everyone's wanting to stop. Just pause.
The county clerk has 10 days to verify the recall signatures. A lawsuit challenging the data center's approval is also pending.
And another development in data center news. St. Charles City Council expected to vote on a potential mega data center ban tonight. The move comes as the city's one-year ban on data centers expires soon, which was put in place after a developer attempted to build a large center near Highway 370 last year. The council is expected to vote on a ban on large-scale centers at tonight's City Hall meeting at 7 p.m.
Meanwhile, the St. Charles County Jail is touting newly finished upgrades they say allow them to provide more individualized care and attention to their most at-risk population. Interim Director of Corrections Robin Edwards tells KMOX their renovations created new wings for specifically for detainees suffering from mental health and substance abuse issues.
Individuals that we get on a regular basis will be able to receive the treatment
their medication, and just the support that they need to be successful out in the community.
The mental health wing is complete, while the substance abuse wing will open at the end of June.
A legendary downtown St. Louis music venue is getting a second lease on life. Here's KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
BB's Jazz, Blues, and Soups is reopening under new ownership. The South Broadway landmark closed in 2023, but is now under contract to the owners of the nearby Broadway Oyster Bar. In a joint statement, new owners Steve Sullivan and Mark Goldenberg said, quote, "We're reopening not just to bring back live music, but to preserve a space where culture, community, and creativity have always thrived and bring it forward to a new era in St. Louis. This is St. Louis at its best." An official pre-opening public event is scheduled for tomorrow at noon.
By the way, if you're heading to the Veta Soccer Dome in Webster Groves, just keep an eye on your toddler, because that claw machine has struck again. St. Charles County Police posting on Facebook this week that one of their off-duty officers rescued a child who was stuck in that Veta Soccer Dome claw machine last week. The officer was there with his family. It's at least the third time in the last few months that a kid has climbed inside. It gives away big inflatable balls, so the opening is large enough for toddlers to get inside the machine.
Yeah, it looks like a ball pit.
Exactly.
You know,
they're having the time of their life. All the adults are like, "Oh my God, there's a kid in the machine."
They're like, "I want to go in there." This is an indoor playground. 7:15. St. Louis City SC plays tonight, by the way, against the Houston Dynamo in the U.S. Open Cup at Energizer Park. One of two big sports events in downtown St. Louis tonight. Takes us to our cut of the game, sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net.
Pitch, a swing and a ground ball to the second baseman. Flip to second out, on to first, double play, Redbird winner. Set off the fireworks in downtown St. Louis. A 4-6-3 double play ends the game, and the Cardinals have won both games in this series. 4-2 is the final today.
That they have, the Cardinals with a terrific win, but the loss on Sunday, 2-0 to the Royals, also saw an injury to Mason Wynn. That'll be a question for Ollie Marmol today at noon on the Gas House Gang. Here he is describing it on Sunday.
You got a medical update on Mason. What did he do there?
Yes, felt a little discomfort in his left knee, more precautionary than anything. They didn't want to push through it, so they took a look at it during the end of that game, and kind of day-to-day at the moment. We'll see how he comes in tomorrow. Yeah.
Was it on the swing, or was that while he was running?
While he was running, yeah.
Cardinals have a game tonight at 6:45 against the Pirates. In fact, they play their next 12 against NL Central opponents. They'll play the Pirates for 3 this week. They're at the Reds, then at the Brewers, then at home against the Cubs to wrap up the month of May. The Cubs lost at home last night to the Brewers 9-3. This NL Central is tight. The Cubs have lost 3 in a row. They only have a half-game lead over the Brewers and just 1 game on the Cardinals right now in the National League Central. Alex Newhook scored his second Game 7 winning goal of the postseason, this time 11-22 into overtime as the Montreal Canadiens beat the Buffalo Sabres on the road 3-2. That ends Buffalo's run at a Stanley Cup. They've never won it. As a matter of fact, Buffalo has never won a pro sports championship. Just by comparison, how good do you have it here in St. Louis? St. Louis has won 14. 11 for the Cardinals, 1 for the Blues, 1 for the Rams, 1 for the Hawks in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama led the Spurs to a 122-115 double overtime win against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Wemby, 41 points, 24 rebounds. He joins legends like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with performance numbers like that. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original. Your garage door moves up and down all day long, and especially with the kids back in town, full-time, back home, from college, from high school, from grade school, they all know how to open up the garage door and get those toys out of there, get the car out of there. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis can help you with that. The summer months, you are going to need that garage door tuned up, most likely, unless you've done it already. The old weather stripping might need to be replaced. You just might need a quick little tune-up for the opener, the garage door. It's one price for all three, up to three garage doors. I have one. I don't know how many garage doors you have, but the garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home, and it needs care. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis can tune up any brand of garage door, and they've been doing it for a century. They started in 1926. They are the genuine, the original, the one with the red ribbon. Some people try to copy them, but they're the only ones that can lay claim to that. 100 years. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The ones with the red ribbon, the genuine, the original.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:20. Let's get you updated on your ride in this morning. Hopefully nothing in your way, but you never know. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, it looks like they have Route 4 shut down now north of 70 because of a crash just before 143. It's jammed about midway back to 70. But it looks like that entire stretch north of there from 70 up to 143, Route 4 is shut down. So just be advised of that. If you're on northbound 270, ramping on from 55 up through Sappington, looks like we have a minor incident there. Northbound 55 north of Richardson up to the Merrimack's heavy. The right lanes are bogged down at Butler Hill, and all lanes Bayless up through Virginia are slow. By the way, north of 270, once you get past Sappington Road, Big Bend, most of the way to Manchester, really sort of pockets up to Ladue from that point. Northbound 170, only the two left lanes are open past this crash. South of Olive near the Old Bottom overpass, traffic's jammed near Ladue on northbound 170 right now. In downtown, westbound 6450 through 159's heavy. Paul Avenue to the 70 split, 5570's at Exchange to the 70 split, and then it's backed up 3rd Street to the Poplar due to that earlier crash. Route 3's on the brakes at Monsanto. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Is your financial advisor working more for your retirement or for his? Find out the real story behind the financial industry with Greg Ayler, Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're in a flood watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. What does that mean, a flood watch? Well, first of all, it's the entire area. It doesn't matter where you are right now. If you're listening to us, you're probably in it. From Jefferson County to Madison County, Illinois, all throughout the area. This is a flood watch. It remains in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Flash flooding caused by excessive rainfall continues to be possible. You should monitor our forecasts and be alert for possible flood warnings. Those living in areas prone to flooding should be prepared to take action should flooding develop. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says we are going to get showers and a thunderstorm, so more rain and any thunderstorm could cause that flash flooding. A high of 76 today. Cooler tonight, chance of a late thunderstorm, or early evening thunderstorm, I should say, low 56. Tomorrow, less humid, nicer day, sunny, high 69. Currently, we have clouds and 70 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:23. Missourians have limited time left to apply for help paying utility bills. Ken Chapman with the Missouri Department of Social Services says the state's Low-Income Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, provides a one-time payment to help eligible households cover heating or cooling costs.
And there's a winter crisis piece and there's a summer crisis piece. And so what that means is anybody in threat of disconnect with crisis, anybody who's in that mode can get assistance as long as they qualify for that assistance.
Chapman tells MissouriNet the program serves about 125,000 households each year, and the deadline to apply is May 31st.
You're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. We have some new numbers for the housing market from the National Association of Home Builders and Wells Fargo. Joining me now on the Quiver River Electric guest line is Bankrate Principal Analyst Ted Rossman. Ted, thanks for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
When it comes to this index, what does it actually measure?
We're talking here about a home building index. So it's how constructors of new homes are feeling about the market. They're feeling a little bit better in May than they were in April. We saw a bit of an uptick in three key components: current sales conditions, sales expectations in the next 6 months, and traffic of prospective buyers. Unfortunately, though, these numbers do remain in negative territory. They're just not as negative. We are seeing about a third of builders cutting prices. That's down slightly from April. About 6 in 10 offering some other sales incentives like closing cost credits and mortgage rate buy downs and upgraded countertops and things like that. We know the housing market is a bit stuck right now because of high prices and high rates. According to this report, the situation improved a little bit month over month.
How could mortgage rates down the road impact what we're seeing with these numbers?
That's really at the heart of this affordability issue. That's really the key obstacle for buyers right now is affordability. And we see that manifest in two ways. Part of it is mortgage rates. As you said, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.46%, which is up. It's actually tied for the highest we've seen in 8 months. It's up 0.5 point since the war in Iran started. There's definitely an inflationary concern there. The other part, of course, is higher prices, and that's really been a conundrum that people have been dealing with for years now. We've started to see some easing, especially in the Sun Belt, some of these markets that ran up in price tremendously. They've started to give back some of those gains. In general, though, prices are a lot higher than they were, let's say, 5 years ago, and it's an obstacle for the first-time buyer for sure because they don't have any equity to trade in, so they're kind of getting squeezed on both sides. And then you also have that whole issue of the golden handcuffs for the existing owner. They locked in the 3 or 4% rate during the pandemic, and they're reluctant to sell, so there's not as much inventory, and then that leads to higher prices, and it's all kind of related in that way.
Ted, when we look at these snapshots of what's happening in the housing market, what do you think it's important for listeners to know as they consider their options?
Homeownership is still a key component of the American dream. About 8 in 10 Americans say that homeownership is part of that. And I would tell people that you don't need to rush. In other words, it's better to rent for an additional year than it is to buy too early because buying has a lot of advantages, of course. There's the ability to customize and make your own and feel like you're building equity every month. But it's also very cost intensive and time intensive too when you think about repairs and maintenance and all these things that go into it. So, you actually do have some advantages if you're renting in terms of being more mobile for job opportunities, and it's not your responsibility when the water heater breaks or something like that. Most people do aspire to home ownership at some point, but I would urge people to be patient. You don't want to be what's known as house poor, where you put so much of your net worth into your home that you don't have anything left for taxes, insurance, maintenance, upkeep, the proverbial rainy day. So don't feel like it's now or never. I mean, it's better to rent another year or two than it is to buy too early.
That's Bankrate Principal Analyst Ted Rossman. Ted, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks.
It's 7:28. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Mulch, soil, compost, St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting has it all. We ordered mulch from St. Louis Composting. They happily brought it over after we went to the cubic yard calculator and put in how much we needed. Very, very easy. We just went the dimensions here, and here. They told us exactly how much we needed. They dropped it off at our house. That mulch was spread in the spring, and it is looking great. You can go to stlcompost.com and do the exact same thing. Now, if you have a truck or trailer and you want to load up and haul it yourself, they have 9 different locations in the St. Louis area. 9. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. Soil, they have the bagged Missouri Botanical Garden soil as well. They have compost, they have mulch, and they're the largest compost provider in the St. Louis area and the best. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. Growing gardens, making memories.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Spring and summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, they're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in, backed by over thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 rating. This month, only get a whole system air duct cleaned for just $599. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we do have a flood watch in effect. It's 70 degrees and cloudy. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, how's it looking out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're still working the crash on northbound 170 near the old Bonham overpass south of Olive, so traffic's backed up through the parkway now on northbound 170. We have a crash. I can't tell which lane's blocked. Southbound 170 just past Frost. It's backing traffic up onto the 270 ramps. They got a couple of trouble spots, both directions on the inner belt right now. Northbound 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55. Then it's slow to Gravois, but it jams at 44. We've got a crash blocking at Doherty Ferry, and then it's slow north of Manchester up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound 70, a little slow through Wensville Parkway. It's a little slow east of the Blanchette through our city. Eastbound 64, Chesterfield Parkway west of Timberlake, busy. A slowdown at the inner belt. Westbound 64, Hampton through Bellevue is off the pace. North 55, a little slow approaching Church Street up through the Merrimack. The right lanes are bogged down at Butler Hill. A backup from the Union Road overpass to River to Pears, still slow to Virginia. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 on the brakes from 50 through 159. So that's exit 14. It's slow from just west of 25th Street. Pockets headed across the Poplar from that earlier crash. And if you're traveling on Route 4, it looks like they are letting some traffic through, but it still looks like it's shut down about midway up to 143 in Marine from the earlier crash, but it looks like they're getting it wrapped up. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company in St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a cloudy day, and we could see some more showers and a thunderstorm. High of 76 today. That flood watch is in effect until 1 this afternoon. We could see a thunderstorm around early this evening, and then as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be even cooler, less humid. Clouds breaking for some sun. Tomorrow, 69 degrees, 74 with limited sun on Thursday. Right now, it's cloudy and 70 downtown.
A day-long public hearing in Franklin County yesterday made clear residents are still uneasy about 2 data centers being built within a few miles of each other.
What's the real purpose of AI?
Hundreds turned out, including Franklin County resident Mark McCloskey right there to weigh in on the Gray Summit and Pacific projects. Turned out to be another 12-hour or so meeting.
When we are thinking about these data centers and water use, and you have 2 within 5 miles of each other, how is the combined effect of those going to be on the aquifer?
Both projects and proposed county regulations on data centers will come back before the commission at a future meeting.
St. Charles City Council expected to vote on a potential mega data center ban tonight. That move comes as the city's 1-year ban on data centers expires soon. It was put in place after a developer attempted to build a large data center near Highway 370 last year. The council's expected to vote on the ban on large-scale data centers at tonight's City Hall meeting, which starts at 7.
Drivers soon will legally be able to hit 75 on rural stretches of Missouri's interstates. We've been keeping tabs on this story for you. They might soon be able to do that. Senate Bill 1 1408 cleared the legislature in the closing hours of Friday's regular session and is now sitting on Governor Kehoe's desk. The 5-mile-per-hour bump would only kick in where the current limit is 70, meaning the interstates wrapping Kansas City, Springfield, and St. Louis would stay where they are.
Mike, traveling from Texas, tells Fox 2 the difference is no big deal.
Do you think it's unsafe to go up a 5-mile vector?
No, not at all. I think 5 miles really ain't going to change much.
Half of Missouri's neighbors already post 75 in rural areas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. Even if the governor signs this, the Missouri Transportation Commission ultimately gets a sign-off before any signs come down.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce!
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy? Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mirafiber gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mirafiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support, all in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
It is 7:36. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey along with Tom Ackerman. We'll get you updated on traffic and weather in 4 minutes. It's time now for your Money Minute, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Big changes coming to Facebook parent Meta. The tech giant is planning to cut 10% of workers tomorrow. That's roughly 8,000 people. The company's looking to improve efficiency and offset its other investments in artificial intelligence. Meantime, Meta says it's reassigning another 7,000 workers to new jobs related to AI. Employees will move into one of several new groups focused on AI-related products, including agents and apps. Checking on the market, stock futures are ticking lower this morning. The conflict in the Middle East rumbling on, and investors remain cautious. And a jury rejected Elon Musk's claims that OpenAI betrayed its mission to benefit the public by morphing into a for-profit business, finding that he waited too long to sue the company. The verdict follows a trial over the bitter feud between Musk and OpenAI's Sam Altman. The verdict is a major relief for the ChatGPT maker as it eyes a potential initial public offering. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-ALL-4s. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
This Memorial Day, Artistic Decks is honoring the season with rollback pricing. Precision craftsmanship meets old school American value to help you save big. Quality you can trust. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Ollie Marble also with us today at noon, and the Cardinals manager, I'm sure, will have a lot to say about what was a memorable weekend at Busch Stadium, some of it his doing. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, it looks like we still have restrictions on Route 4 north of 70 between there and 143. You can get about midway up to 143, but then it looks like it's still shut down from the earlier crash. So we want to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route, and that's to take 70 to 143 or vice versa, 143 east to 70 and back westbound to get around that closure of Route 4 right now between 70 and 143. We got a new crash on northbound 270. First of all, it's slow from 55 to 44. Then it jams from 44 up to Doherty Ferry. Crash in the left lane. They're trying to clear it. It's the right lanes that are still blocked by that crash. North 170 near the old Bonham overpass. Traffic is backed up through the Forest Park Parkway, and it's kind of slow past it going southbound briefly. They cleared that crash at the way south 270. Eastbound Highway 70, the bulk of the volume. T.R. Hughes, east of K there, and east of the Blanchett into 270. Eastbound 64, Boone's Crossing through to Timberlake and at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, slow. Northbound 55, heavy traffic coming up through Butler Hill. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up through Holly Hills. Westbound 64, 50 through 159, and then 25th Street to the Poplars heavy. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Well, the sky has brightened a little bit since earlier when it was just flat out gloomy. I'm not sure what we should take from that, Joe Lundberg, but tell us more about our forecast.
Well, I think it's about to get gloomy again. We're kind of in a break between what came in at daybreak and what's to follow from the south and west. Just a large area of rain over the central and western sections and most of the southern sections of the state right now. It's all aimed in our direction. So we're going to get some showers and a thunderstorm later this morning and into the first part of the afternoon. We still have a flood watch until 1 p.m. There's really not much place to put any more water, and any of these downpours could cause some localized flooding. Our high gets to 76, and things start to taper off later this afternoon. Still a shower or two in the area tonight. Cloudy skies, maybe a rumble of thunder early, the low 56. A shower to start today, tomorrow, especially south and east of the city. Then some sun breaks through, but it's going to be a cool day, only 69. Kind of cool on Thursday with clouds, some sun, and a high of 74. Friday looks to be mostly cloudy with a good chance for some showers and a thunderstorm. I don't think that that's going to cause one severe weather or two flooding, the high 71. Saturday, mostly cloudy, warmer, feeling a bit more humid too. Could be a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 80. Right now, dry for the moment, 65 at St. Peter's, 66 in Florissant, 67 mostly cloudy downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
A year after the devastating May tornado, the United Way of Greater St. Louis has a new initiative, United for Storm Recovery. It earmarks about $1 million for emerging and ongoing needs of those affected. United Way's Regina Greer says there are still plenty of ways to help.
Continued volunteerism is always needed, and so go to sclvolunteer.org to sign up. We always will continue to need donations from individuals so that individuals can still keep recovering. This is a long-term prospect for the stability of these families as well.
Unmet needs could be beds, appliances, or household goods. Greer says it's hard to put a number on just how many people are still displaced.
$30 million in ARPA funds are going towards a project in North St. Louis.
I'm standing outside a vacant building where an excavator is hard at work despite the pelting rain. The site off Benham Rome is very soggy as crews begin demolition of the abandoned building. It's being demolished in order to build a new location for the Animal Protective Association of Missouri. Sarah Javier is the president and CEO, and she tells me the demo will finish today as long as the weather doesn't get worse. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
That building will span 22,000 feet and will include an adoption center, veterinarian center, and pet owner support services.
All right, it's time to get after it for the St. Louis Cardinals. They play 12 games against NL Central foes for the rest of this month. It is on in the National League Central. The Cubs lost last night to the Brewers 9-3. Chicago's lost 3 in a row. They are clinging to a half-game lead in the NL Central over those Brewers. And here are the Cardinals sitting there just a game out, entering tonight's game against the Pirates at 6:45. The Pirates are 4.5 out. The Reds sit at 500. They are in last place, 5 out. Manager Ollie Marmol.
You guys have passed every test this season. You have 12 in a row now coming up against division teams. Is that another, step to, play well against teams in the division?
I feel like no matter what stretch you're in, someone's going to call it a test. We're focused one game at a time. I'm really not concerned with who's across the way. No one in that clubhouse is. We got to take care of business, continue to get better in different aspects of the game, and everything else will take care of itself. But the focus right now isn't on the opposition. It's us making sure that we're tightening up our game and continuing to get better.
5:50 for the pregame tonight from Busch Stadium right here on KMOX. The season is over. The dream is over for the Buffalo Sabres. They've never won a Stanley Cup. In fact, they were looking for Buffalo's first ever pro sports championship. But it all came to an end last night when the Montreal Canadiens beat them in overtime 3-2. It took double overtime for the San Antonio Spurs, and they picked up a win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. 41 points and 24 rebounds for Victor Wembanyama. That is Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type stuff. And in that 122-115 double overtime win over the Thunder, San Antonio steals one, and now they can beat the Thunder as long as they hold home court. On their home floor, they're going to be tough. Oklahoma City is, however, the defending NBA champion, and they have the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But Wemby has put on some show. St. Louis City SC hopes to put on a show tonight.
St. Louis City SC is back home tonight for a U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal against the Houston Dynamo, just 3 days after a physical 1-1 draw at DC United in the club's tightest turnaround of the season so far. It's also City's fourth match in a stretch of 5 games across 15 days before the World Cup break. Head coach Yoann Damet says the club planned ahead for this knockout game by rotating players over the weekend.
We had identified for that last stretch that C was the right game to cut a little bit the schedule in two and have almost like a reset with some of the guys. Looking back, I'm very happy about how we managed that period and the game on Saturday. It allows us to have like some guys a little bit more fresh going into the game.
Damet also confirmed Marcel Hartel is back after missing Saturday's match due to illness, though his Open Cup availability remains uncertain. Tonight's winner advances to the Open Cup semifinal in September. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. Visit Innsbrook-resort.com and you're going to find a great place to stay this summer. Man, the weekends at Innsbrook are so nice. Just go out there for a couple days and see what I'm talking about. We do these summer weekends here and there, and it's not far from home. Once you pass through the gates at Innsbrook, you are in vacation mode. You can kick back your lake house is all ready for you, and you just relax. Vacation time. Not far from home. That's the best part about it. Innsbruck-resort.com. You're going to see one of 100 lakes, so you can go to a bunch of them. You can, they have beaches. They have a golf course. They have restaurants. They have shopping. They have wedding event venues. They have fireworks. They have relaxation, hiking. All of it right there. Great fishing, too, at Innsbruck. And a lot of other things. 7,500 acres. Innsbruck-resort.com. Let's look at our parlay of the day. It's sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. This one's easy for me. I'm going Knicks tonight. The Knicks are going to open it up against Cleveland tonight. It's Madison Square Garden. It's going to be rocking. It's the Eastern Conference Finals. They are a 7-point favorite. I think they cover that tonight. I'm going Knicks -7 tonight. As a matter of fact, I feel so good about that. I also would consider looking at them as NBA champion. I think this could be the year for the New York Knickerbockers. Parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
7:51, and I might actually see a little bit of sunshine trying to peek through the clouds. Could be my imagination. Anyway, we'll take a look at the weather in just a moment. Right now, Roger Brand has the latest on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, some good news for northbound drivers. If you're northbound on 270, you're bogged down just north of 55 to Gravois. Then it's bumper to bumper all the way to Doherty Ferry. We did have a crash in the left lane, but they just cleared it over. Looks like they're moving it over to the right shoulder north of Doherty Ferry, or maybe they're completely out of there, but I can see the lanes are open now, so that's good news. Still a jam, but it'll get better. And they also just cleared that crash northbound 170 near the Old Bonham overpass south of Olive. North 170 still has a jam back onto 64. But again, it'll continue to get better. South 170 from about the Midland overpass down through that Old Olive or Old Bonham area is heavy because they were looking at the northbound wreck. Eastbound 70, 370 to Cave Springs, 5th Street into 270 is busy. Eastbound 64, Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake and east of Lindbergh through the Inner Belt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, and then west of McKnight all the way to Spady's kind of busy. Northbound 55 backs up Bayless or Union Road overpass to River to Pear, then it's still slow to Virginia. Downtown westbound 6450 to 159 busy, and then west of 25th Street still slow headed across the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I'll hand it to Debbie. She's trying to will that sun to shine through the clouds today, but I got news for you.
It seems a little brighter.
Yeah, well, that's better. We are going to get some rain today, more showers and a thunderstorm, and that's why we're in a flood watch in effect until 1 p.m. We will have a high of 76 today. Cooler tonight. There will be a chance of a shower or two, even a thunderstorm early, low 56 tomorrow. The sun is back, and it'll be less humid and a high of 69. Thursday, Friday look pretty good. Thursday, sunny, high 74. Friday, cloudy, couple of showers and a thunderstorm, a high of 71 degrees. Currently, we have 71 with clouds downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:53. An animal shelter in Belleville evacuating due to rising floodwaters. The St. Clair County Animal Control transferring some dogs and cats to Gateway Pet Guardian Animal Shelter, but they don't have room for all the animals. The shelters are urging residents to foster any of the animals for 2 weeks. Gateway Pet Guardians offering to provide foster families with food and supplies.
Congresswoman Ann Wagner is escalating her public criticism of the U.S. Postal Service's St. Louis operation. She's asked the FBI to investigate suspected mail theft and check washing tied to the regional processing facility after the Madison County, Illinois Sheriff's Office reported victims lost more than $45,000. Wagner's also pointing the finger upward.
My confidence in the regional management of the United States Postal Service could not be any lower.
Wagner has been calling for firings at the Postal Service since last year's federal audit of the region's mail operations. She and Democratic Congressman Wesley Bell have also introduced a bipartisan bill that would force the Postal Service to report to Congress on its St. Louis service performance.
Missouri's election clerks have questions about the new congressional map as they try to update their voter rolls. Brianna Lennon, the Democratic clerk in Boone County, says she cannot update the rolls because the Republican Secretary of State, Denny Hoskins, has not provided the required updates.
Miller County Clerk, fellow Republican Clinton Jenkins agrees with Lennon, telling Missouri Net.
She's an attorney. She is way smarter than I am. So it's going to be up to her. Each individual county clerk, I mean, whatever decision they make, it's on them. But if she feels like there's an issue, there's an issue.
Jenkins says the new boundaries split Boone County among two congressional districts, actually cutting houses in half. Secretary of State Hoskins maintains that all Missouri counties have everything they need to update their voter rolls.
Missouri had a visit yesterday from the vice president during a stop at a Kansas City factory. J.D. Vance said the Trump administration is investing in American workers.
For my entire life, the story of my hometown, the story of great manufacturers like this one, is that they were shedding jobs instead of creating jobs, and that workers were suffering instead of thriving, and that we saw factories in our own hometowns and our own home states closing down instead of rebuilding and adding.
In an email about Vance's visit, Kendall Whitmer with the Democratic National Committee said Trump and Vance trashed the economy, tanked the job market, and plunged the U.S. into a deadly and costly war with Iran.
Lots of traffic out there. Roger Brand will have it next at 7:56.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at Amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
7:58. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's got the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, northbound 270 is slow at Tesson Ferry. Stop and go as you approach Gravois up through 44. It opens up before you get to Big Bend. Still busy off the pace up to Manchester from that earlier crash we had at Doherty Ferry. Eastbound 70 from 79 into Mid Rivers. Looks like we have an incident there. It's slow east of 94 into our city. After that, eastbound 64 Annie Guns to about Timberlake is heavy. There's slow stuff east of Lindbergh and through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Hanley. 170 still kind of busy both ways. South of Olive to 64 from earlier northbound incident there. Northbound 55, you still got a jam from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear. Slow to Virginia and 64 west of 50 through 159 and 3rd Street to the Poplar is still heavy. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy and 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman. Megan Lynch is coming up next, and these are the stories she's working on. Many high-powered professionals have ADHD and don't even know it. Learn more after the news.
I'm Debbie Monterey. The global Ebola outbreak has grown overnight. A public health expert tells you what you need to know if you have travel plans coming
Festus residents turn in petitions to recall officials who voted for a data center. Michael Calhoun brings you the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It'll be cloudy and humid today with a couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm, the high 76.
I'll be back for the Gas House Gang with Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas, and Ollie Marmol. We'll be on at noon. A lot to talk about, that's for sure. It's 8 o'clock.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Vicki Barker. The State Department urges Americans not to travel to the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, or Uganda as a deadly Ebola outbreak is upgraded to an epidemic. Dr. Ann Ancia is the WHO's representative in the DRC.
The way that we're going to have to work to be able to decrease and stop the transmission of this virus is working very closely with the local population to make sure that, they have the right behavior. For example, if they feel the symptoms of the disease, they need to come directly to get treated.
More than 130 dead so far, 500 infected, including at least one American. In Southern California, aircraft dropping thousands of gallons of water on the Simi Valley fire northwest of L.A. Some 16,000 residents ordered to evacuate. The fire fueled by tinder dry conditions. Similar conditions building up from the Gulf Coast all the way up through the nation's northeast. Here's meteorologist Craig Allen.
This is going to produce temperatures well up in the 90s to near 100. It's quite possible that we'll have 2 or 3 days worth of 90s to near 100 degrees and a heat index between 95 and 100 at least through Wednesday.
Primaries in Pennsylvania today will set the stage for 4 key House races this November. CBS's Torian Small is in Allentown.
Though he faces no opposition in his primary, tonight could be the first true test of the strength of Governor Josh Shapiro's coattails. While he's staring down a potential matchup against Republican presumptive nominee Stacey Garrity in November, he's endorsing a few candidates in key House races in his state.
Good news for New York area commuters. The Long Island Railroad strike appears to be over.
The railroad and its unions have not released details of the deal, which workers still have to vote on. But New York Governor Kathy Hochul made this pledge.
We will not be raising taxes to cover the cost of an increase for the workers, and we're not going to raise fares to make the accommodations either.
It will take until this afternoon to get LIRR trains rolling again, making for another nightmarish commute for many.
It cost me $100 in the Uber to get to Queens, and now I got to ride a 2-hour bus.
I left at 7:30 and I punched in at 11:23.
Michael Wallace, CBS News, New York.
Pregnant women are bombarded with ads for supplements set to support their own and their baby's health. CBS's Michael George reports on one that works.
Taking vitamin D3 while pregnant could boost cognitive function in children. That's according to a study published in JAMA that found women who took high-dose vitamin D3 while pregnant had children who scored higher on memory and cognition tests at the age of 10.
But researchers warn pregnant women should always consult their doctors first. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here?
How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, May 19th. I'm Megan Lynch. Franklin County commissioners had hoped to avoid a repeat of the 12-hour meeting they'd previously gone through over data centers Well, yesterday's meeting lasted 13 hours. Hundreds turned out all day to oppose two campuses being pitched, one near Shaw Nature Reserve in Gray Summit, the other closer to Pacific. Many questioned whether the area's rural character can survive that kind of development.
70,000 people visit Shaw Nature Reserve every year. I can just see the new billboard. Come on over, get your free headache, your nausea, and your hypertension.
The Franklin County Commission took no action yesterday. Meantime, another public hearing about St. Louis City's new rules for data centers. City planning staff presented an updated framework to the Planning Commission after the public weighed in heavily on the earlier draft. The new rules tighten setbacks between large data centers and homes, phase in renewable energy use, and require Board of Aldermen approval for any major project. City Planning Executive Miriam Keller tells commissioners other cities will likely be watching closely.
These regulations, even as they're drafted, present as far as where urban communities are in this. These are the most comprehensive set of regulations put forward by any urban city.
The Planning Commission held off on a vote. A decomposing body has been found in Boone County. Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of a container found in Perch Creek near the Missouri River. The person calling it in Monday afternoon said the container looked suspicious and smelled the body awaiting an autopsy at the Boone County Medical Examiner's office. The Board of Aldermen Budget Committee votes to subpoena the state-controlled Board of Police Commissioners.
It is our duty as stewards of taxpayer money to understand and ask and advocate for a budget that meets the needs of the people.
Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez, the police board skipped the budget hearing, citing lawsuits now in court over how much the city is required to spend on policing. Committee Vice Chair Michael Browning says this isn't a fight with the rank and file.
My issue is with the Board of Police Commissioners that has been state appointed, has not been elected by the people, laying claim to taxpayer funds that also have to pay for our streets to be paved, our trees to be trimmed, the lighting in the street to be replaced, our sidewalks to be fixed, our health department to operate. I could go on and on.
Police board spokesman Mitch McCoy said in a statement the board has not been formally served and its attorneys advised against attending the hearings while the case is pending. A court hearing is scheduled for today at 1:30 at the Carnahan Courthouse in downtown St. Louis. The St. Charles County Jail has completed phase 1 of a major overhaul.
The completed upgrades includes a new wing specifically for detainees struggling with behavioral health problems, while the new substance abuse wing is on schedule to open at the end of next month. Interim Director of Corrections Robin Edwards says 80% of the jail's population struggles with one or both of those issues, and these new segregated facilities will allow their staff to better treat their needs.
You need support? Okay, you need support. Well, I don't need support. I need a job. I need housing. So reentry coordinator, peer support specialist, those people we have here who can help get you connected to those resources.
Within the new behavioral health wings are different styles of housing, single bedrooms, 2 bunk rooms, all with their own smaller community spaces to allow them rec time while keeping them away from other individuals at different degrees of risk. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, families with children in a downtown St. Louis charter school got the news in a late-night email that school, Voices Academy of Media Arts, will be shutting down immediately, even before the end of the academic year. The school in the high-rise Park Pacific on Olive and Tucker was facing an upcoming vote by the Missouri Charter Public School Commission. It was widely expected the charter would be revoked. The school was closed around Thanksgiving after an 8-year-old managed to walk out of the school unnoticed and wandered around downtown alone for about an hour. That opened up an investigation into student safety. There were also staffing and operational issues at the school. It's now 8:08. Traffic and weather together in 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis. a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only in 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10. Let's see where the problems are on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they were clearing an incident eastbound 70, just east of 79, before you get to Mid-Rivers. Traffic is bogged down at TR Hughes. Some of it's stop and go, but it's mainly just a heavy run through there. Northbound 270 still backed up. Tesson Ferry to Gravois. Then it's just slow all the way up to Ladue due to earlier problems we had at Ferry. If you're coming in on eastbound 64, the bulk of the traffic is just a slow dash to Lindbergh and then a backup briefly at the Inner through Big Bend. South 170 Olive down through Delmar, and then it's not as bad after that. Heavy at the U Club Tower. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker out through Bellevue, and then Clayton Warson to Spady. It's a little slow. Northbound 55, you still got that backup running from about the Union Road overpass up through Weber. Still heavy north of there to Virginia. On the Illinois side, 60 westbound, 64 westbound, 50 through 159. You've got delays. It's just a little slow approaching the Poplar. It looks like Route 3 at Queenie, a train crossing. Southbound's backed up to Monsanto. Northbound's backed up pretty close to Jerome, and it still looks like we have restrictions on Route 4 north of 70 between there and 143 from an early morning crash. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have a flood watch until 1 this afternoon. It'll be rather cloudy and humid today with a couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm moving through the high 76. Tonight, cloudy and cooler, a shower or two, perhaps a rumble of thunder early, low 56. Tomorrow, clouds giving way to some sun and even cooler, the high 69. More clouds and sun Thursday, high 70 to 74. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. Currently, we've got cloudy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Our next guest says many successful professionals are quietly struggling with ADHD. With us now on the Quiver River Electric guest line, Dr. Jenny Byrne, neuroscientist and author of the new book, ADHD in Professionals, Embracing Your Brain. Good morning, Dr. Byrne.
Hi, good morning.
So, in looking at this, I'm wondering, how would someone know that they have ADHD as an adult?
That's a great question. And first of all, just say that a lot of people have adult ADHD brains. It's about 5 to 10% of the population. So if you have ADHD, you're certainly not alone. You're in good company. Often what I hear in adults who are seeking an ADHD diagnosis is that they just feel like something has been off. They have a history of hearing, if only I could do this, if only, feeling like something's wrong. And sometimes they've been treated for years for things like anxiety or depression, and the underlying problem is actually ADHD.
How often does this go unrecognized for a lot of people?
I would say it's extremely common, especially because we didn't understand much about ADHD in adults that are now in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s or 80s. Back when they were kids, we didn't really know anything about ADHD. So kids today, it's getting picked up much earlier. But I see many, many folks who have not been diagnosed. So, I would guess it's, millions of people potentially. If you look at the statistics in terms of the prevalence and how many people are actually treated for it, it's very small.
Is there a stigma to acknowledging it and even asking for accommodations at work as an adult?
Definitely. And that's one of the reasons I wrote this book on ADHD and professionals is that I've been alarmed to see that the stigma is so high. It seems like we're making good progress around depression and anxiety. Stigma is slowly decreasing. But when it comes to ADHD, the stigma is still very high. And because people have framed it as a disorder, then the accommodations become seen as like something's wrong with you. And you have to have this disorder before you can ask for accommodations or changes to your workplace to make it work better for your brain.
It strikes me in reading about your work that a lot of us probably don't really understand how ADHD shows up and might think that someone in a leadership role or a high performance profession could not possibly function in their jobs with ADHD. Tell us a little bit about those myths.
Yeah, that's a huge myth. Again, it comes from this idea that it's a disorder, which I actually believe it's a brain variant, not really a disorder. But when we see folks that are doing very, very well professionally, we assume, hey, you can't have a disorder. How could you be a doctor? How could you be a CEO? How could you be an entrepreneur? If you had a serious disorder, there's no way that you could have that level of achievement. So it's really sad. Sometimes these folks ask for help and feel like something's wrong, and they go to a primary care doctor or maybe a therapist who doesn't really themselves know much about ADHD. And they're told over and over again, you're too high functioning to have ADHD. And I've heard this quote like hundreds of times. People come to see me. So it's a big myth. In fact, some traits of ADHD brains are really good for leadership positions. And for example, physicians, doctors I work with ADHD, they do really well in high adrenaline situations. So emergency room, operating room, intensive care, trauma. Sometimes their brain is actually better in those high adrenaline situations.
Does it present differently for men than for women?
I'd say yes and no. I think in terms of the brain variant, it's probably similar for men and women, but the way that we see it is shaped by our culture. So what I hear from a lot of men is perhaps it's showing up because they do well at work, but they also have a lot of help. And they come home and, gender roles traditionally, the men aren't really doing as much at home, and so they have help at home, whereas the women are trying to do it all. And so a woman with ADHD who's trying to have a professional career, who's trying to manage a household, maybe manage the kids, sometimes it really shows up for her at home where things are falling apart.
Does this always require medication, or are there some other tools to help adults manage ADHD?
Yeah, I love this question. It's a big myth as well that the only tool to help with ADHD is medicine. Specifically, people think about stimulant medications. They're in the news a lot, things like Ritalin or Adderall. There's a lot of misinformation and stigma out there about these medicines. But as you mentioned, there's actually a ton of other treatments for ADHD. And sometimes just understanding how your brain works and helping shape your environment. Some folks actually choose not to take medication at all, and they find other things through coaching or ways of working that they don't really find a need for meds. Other people really do benefit from medication, and there are different kinds of meds. There are the stimulants that most people know about, but there are also non-stimulant medications. And again, this is where having somebody who really knows a lot about ADHD, they can really tell you all the options as opposed to just thinking about one kind of medicine.
Dr. Burnett, again, for someone who's listening to this and they're wondering, is this me? Maybe what are some of the first things they should look for in themselves? And then what are the first steps they need to take to get some help?
Yeah, great. And I hope folks out there listening to this thinking like, oh gosh, this could be me. The first thing is to get good information. So again, the reason I wrote this book, I felt like there wasn't a lot of good information when it came to professionals. So you can pick up my book. There's other books out there. On my website, I have a free resource guide. The first step is really to get better information. And then if you read about it and you learn about it, maybe listen to podcasts like this show, you can kind of say, well, maybe I should get assessed. And in that case, what I really recommend that you do is start with somebody who has experience. And sometimes the first person is actually a coach, an ADHD coach that has a good amount of experience. I would not recommend going to your primary care unless your primary care happens to be somebody who does know a lot about ADHD. And you can just ask them, what's your experience level? What's your training in this? Just as an example, for me as a psychiatrist, I only got 45 minutes of training on ADHD when I did my education, and that was in kids. It wasn't even in adults. So my education has all been on my own. So many primary care doctors just won't have that kind of education.
All right. That is Dr. Jenny Byrne. She's a neuroscientist and author of the book ADHD in Professionals, Embracing Your Brain. Dr. Byrne, what's your website?
It is constellationpllc.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time on KMOX this morning.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, the global Ebola outbreak has grown overnight. A public health expert is going to tell us what we need to know if we have upcoming travel plans. Plus, Festus residents turn in petitions to recall officials who voted for a data center. Michael Calhoun will bring you the latest this morning at 8:30. Let's get you to work safely. Roger Brand is watching the roads from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got slow going, Megan, on northbound 270. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. It's still bogged down for pretty much Gravois all the way up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, there's a little slow traffic approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Not that big of a deal. A couple of slow spots east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170, a couple of slowdowns coming down from Olive, but again, not that bad. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, a little busy west of Spady briefly. Northbound 55, you still got a backup from Bayless up to about Weber, still slow north of there to Virginia. Illinois drivers, westbound 64, 50 through 159 is busy, but it's clear across the Poplar. And we still have jammed traffic both ways, Route 3 at Queenie. Southbound's backed up through Monsanto. Northbound is jammed just north of Jerome due to a train crossing there. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
There is a flood watch in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Otherwise cloudy, humid, a couple of showers and thunderstorms possible, and those could produce some flash flooding. Expect a high today around 76 degrees. Right now, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Trying to find an at-home caregiver for your loved one or for yourself is time-consuming, and it can be frustrating with people leaving and this constant revolving door of people in and out of the house. But there is a better way. It's called Freedom Care. Freedom Care, with more than 160,000 families served, 97% satisfaction rate. Through Medicaid, Freedom Care lets your family choose a trusted friend or relative as the caregiver. Someone who already knows your loved one, knows the routines, is trusted. You can count on this person. Caregivers can help with meals and medication, bathing, mobility, all while getting paid. So there's no long wait list, no rotating strangers. It is 100% free to you. Freedom Care will handle all of the paperwork, the training, the payroll, the support, so the caregiver can focus on caring for your loved one. So if you're already caring for someone with Medicaid or you're ready to help, call Freedom Care at 314-947-5139. 314-947-5139 for Freedom Care. 314-947-5139.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery. Staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The World Health Organization has declared the current Ebola outbreak in Congo and Uganda a global health emergency. Joining me now on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line is Enbal Shakum, professor and associate dean for research at the College for Public Health and Social Justice at St. Louis University. Thank you so much for being with me.
So glad to be here. Thank you for covering this story.
First off, what is Ebola?
Ebola is just another viral infection. It's an infectious disease that transmits from person to person. So it is pretty severe. And once infected, we have a range of fatality from 25 to 50 on average % risk of fatality.
So it's highly contagious then?
It's highly contagious, but only among people who have really close contact. If you have contact with an infected person's body, bodily fluids, and clothing. So healthcare workers are at higher risk than the general population generally.
I know the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that the risk of Ebola virus to the U.S. population is low, but travelers are being asked to take precautions. So what do travelers in that region of the world need to be aware of?
I think that the tricky part about traveling anywhere is that we have a very global community. And so when we think about where you're traveling, we have to also think about the places where our global hubs of travel to. So when you're traveling and you may not be going to Uganda, you may not be going to the Democratic Republic of Congo, but you may be going to, let's say, London or other major hubs of connection. You want to be consistent and careful. So I would highlight that the key here is bodily fluids have to be exchanged or contacted. So blood, saliva, it's not it's not contracted by air. So I think that's important to think. So it's not like a COVID or a flu. And so that's important. So the risk is not as high for most people who aren't in close contact with others.
Is there anything else you would tell our listeners that you feel they need to know about what's happening right now?
Be vigilant and think about where you're traveling, how you're traveling, what's the risk for you and your family, and translate that into what kinds of practices. Can you delay a travel? Can you consider a change of location? Continue to pay attention and see what kind of data are shared all over the world.
That is SLU's Enbal Shakum, and the numbers have roughly doubled overnight. More than 130 deaths now reported in the Congo and Uganda, more than 500 suspected cases in that region, including an American doctor who was working on a mission there in the Congo. Coming up next on Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun talks with a Festus resident. They turned in recall petitions for city officials who voted for a data center. He'll have the latest. It's now 8:27, and this time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's Tom Ackerman. We are just days away from the Missouri Athletic Club opening its pool at the MAC West in Town and Country. 1777 DePere Road for our members and guests, and it is the beginning of summer for many people, including us. Our kids learned how to swim at the MAC. We love lounging at the MAC. It's a great way to just get some downtime, relax outside, maybe grab some dinner after a long day of swimming. It is a good time. Lots of restaurant options at the MAC West. nice outdoor bar, brand new chairs installed last year, and the pool is always a good relaxing time to visit with friends and family. The Missouri Athletic Club, 3 locations in the St. Louis area for our members and guests. We're downtown, the historic clubhouse at 405 Washington Avenue. We're now in Clayton at the Pierre Laclede Center, and we are in the MAC West building in Town and Country. MAC-STL.org.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
8:30, let's track the slowdowns on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's still a little busy out there, Megan. This traffic reports a service of United Way of Greater St. Louis, helpingpeople.org. Northbound 270, you're still bogged down pretty much from Gravois all the way up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, that's still slow right as you hit the 170 ramp there. Westbound 64 is actually busier from Clayton Skinker all the way out through Hanley. Northbound 55, still a little congestion. Bayless up through River to Pear, then it starts opening up, and it's not so bad after that. Northbound Highway K at O'Fallon Road, we have an injury crash there. Sounds like a head-on collision, but not real serious injury accident. Doesn't sound like, but not a rescue crash, so that's good news at least. Westbound 64, still slow, 50 through 159. Route 3, still this jam. It's from Jerome all the way up through to about Monsanto now. We had a train crossing at Queenie southbound still backed up in the area as well. And we still have restrictions on Route 4 north of 70 between there and 143 shut down from a crash earlier this morning. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
When our neighbors need support, United Way brings people together, helping families, helping children, helping people through everyday challenges, and building hope for tomorrow. Unite with us at helpingpeople.org.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we could have some thunderstorms again today. Other showers could cause flash flooding. Otherwise, it's going to be cloudy and humid with a high of 76. For tonight, cloudy and cooler, a shower or two, an overnight low of 56. We currently have cloudy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. A grassroots citizen group in Festus has turned in petitions hoping to force city officials who voted for a data center out of office. Michael Calhoun spoke with Truman Doyle of Wake Up Jeffco about the recall effort and the data center.
It's now a $6 billion project that Clayco CRG has been trying to put in basically in my backyard here in Ashford Place down in Festus. And so this came about in November. We found out, and we've been fighting ever since. As you know, April the 7th, we, as a city, we have pounded the streets, and we got out the vote. We voted out all of the incumbents, and the promise that we made to the existing council members who had all been involved with getting this passed and pushed through was that we were coming for them with the recall measure, and happy to say that with the hard work of a lot of individuals here in Festus, we have successfully gathered all of the signatures needed, and it was submitted to the county clerk in Hillsborough, and the recall is moving forward.
Yeah, that made national news, I think, the election where everybody who was on the ballot got swept out after and I believe that data center was finally approved, and so then this would be everybody who wasn't just up for re-election now is subject to a recall?
That is correct. So we had one councilwoman in our Ward 2, Stacy Templeton. She was not up for re-election, but she willingly resigned, surprising to us, which left 3 remaining councilmen and, of course, the mayor. So as of today, all signatures needed across all 4 wards for the existing councilman, and then, of course, the overall city for Sam Richards was submitted.
Is there anything that can be done about the data center approval going forward, or is this simply we're going to hold you accountable so that you remember for the next decision who you answer to?
Great question. Right now, there is a lawsuit that has moved up to the county. We're still waiting on that. So at the moment, I mean, yes, I think it's been proven that this stuff can be stopped, even where we're at right now. But this lawsuit's really going to help.
Well, last thing, what happens from here now that the signatures have been turned in? Does this go automatically to a recall election?
That's a great question. So this is what I've been told is that now that it's been handed over and officially filed with the county clerk in Hillsborough, Missouri, they have 10 days to confirm and verify that. And then from there, it goes forward. I believe they contact the city, and then they try to figure out when and where to set up the special election. And then from there, it's kind of, I don't know what it would look like after that. One way or another, though, it would, if it's all verified and certified, all that, which we know will happen. One way or another, there will be an election, special election for the 3 councilmen and the mayor, and I'd assume August, November, and if they have to do something before then that would be on the county.
That is Sherman Doyle of Wake Up Jeffco speaking with our Michael Calhoun.
The first dogwoods in bloom, the smell of fresh cut grass, and weekends on the patio. A great landscape isn't just planted, it's nourished. That's why the pros use premium compost to improve soil structure and water retention naturally. Black Gold Compost is STA certified and OMRI listed, the professional grade foundation your lawn and garden deserve. Top dress your lawn or refresh your beds today. Visit stlcompost.com or one of our 9 locations. Give your soil the home field advantage with St. Louis Composting.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Delta Airlines says expect to see another 6 months of higher ticket prices. The carrier has to absorb the cost of soaring jet fuel prices, and airfares are set to be up 10 to 15% for the quarter. Even so, Delta says higher spending consumers are still willing to shell out on trips. Delta has been more shielded from the fallout of higher costs because the company caters to wealthier flyers, more willing to pay increased ticket prices. Checking on your money, we're looking at a third day of losses for the S&P 500. Inflation and elevated oil prices are weighing on investor sentiment. And Ford is in talks with the U.S. government and defense departments in Europe to supply trucks to their armed forces. Ford says the negotiations have been productive, though they haven't yet yielded a contract. Ford is offering to convert its top-selling F-Series pickup trucks, including its biggest Super Duty trucks, for military use. The automaker is moving to capitalize on the Defense Department's desire to diversify its contractors. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman here. Are you ready for an amazing time the day before the Cards Cubs series begins? The night before, we're having an event at the Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Beer Garden. We're calling it the Redbird Roundtable, and I've pulled in 3 tremendous former Cardinals. Ozzie Smith, the greatest shortstop of all time, will be with us at the Budweiser Beer Garden on Thursday, May 28th. Additionally, we are going to be joined by Matt Adams and Al Roboski. We're talking baseball. We're enjoying a cold beer. We're celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30 on May 28th, the Redbird Roundtable. This is a free event. You must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com/events this Thursday at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch. You can also get more information at BudweiserTours.com. That's BudweiserTours.com.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Get a quote at LibertyMutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Chrysalis Biosciences in Sauget, Illinois is hiring for multiple roles. Join a fast-growing ethanol plant transforming renewable energy with competitive pay, benefits, and growth opportunities. Apply today and grow your career with Chrysalis at chrysalisbio.com.
Coming up on Total Information AM, the new leader of the St. Louis Development Corporation is going to talk about priorities coming up. First, though, let's get you around some of the problems on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still got slow traffic on northbound 270. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield, Fence and Deck. You're still bogged down from 44 all the way up to Ladue. Westbound 64, Clayton, Skinker, McCausland out to Hanley. That's still kind of slow. Northbound 55 still bogged down. Bayless up to River to Pear. Westbound 64 still slow through 159. Route 4 north of 70. You had a crash at 143. They cleared that, but I'm still seeing it looks like restrictions just south of Route 4, so it looks like that's still an issue. Highway 100 at Thebes, that's east of Gray Summit. We have a crash. They had it shut down there. Jam traffic both ways. They may be letting some traffic through now. We have a head-on collision on Highway K at O'Fallon Road. It looks like southbound is a little more backed up than it is northbound there. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A reminder that there is a flood watch in effect until 1 this afternoon. That's because we could have some showers and thunderstorms that could cause some flash flooding. Otherwise, cloudy and humid today with a high of 76. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 66 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The agency that oversees development in the city of St. Louis has been in the hands of a new leader for about a month and a half. Stephen Westbrooks, president and CEO of the St. Louis Development Corporation, joins me in studio this morning. Good morning and welcome to KMOX.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to get an update from you on priorities now that you've had a few weeks to, dig in and see what you're working with. But first, for our listeners who may not be fully familiar, what is the role and the scope of the St. Louis Development Corporation?
Yeah, great question. So SLDC, or the St. Louis Development Corporation, is the lead economic development agency in the city of St. Louis. And I think that at its core, the work of SLDC is to catalyze good development and economic growth in the city. And that can be commercial development, that can be residential housing development, that can be mixed use development, that can be economic development, attracting new companies to the city of St. Louis to create new jobs, for example, in the city of St. Louis. So it's really all of the above.
So as you look at what you see in the agency right now, what do you see as your first priorities, not only to correct problems, but to be proactive down the road?
So having been in the role for a month and a half, and there's a good list of legacy issues that are top priority right now. For example, ensuring that the ARPA dollars are fully spent down by the September 30 deadline is a top priority. The key challenges that we continue to contend with that I'm really excited about confronting is sort of a coordination issue in the city, coordinating good development, coordinating capital, making sure that SLDC is supporting healthy development and creating an ecosystem where developers can come and experience ease in doing business and trying to promote a strong built environment for the city. And so some of those challenges are legacy challenges that are top priorities. And there's also a lot of really key opportunities, a lot of new opportunities that have made their way to the city here in the very recent past.
So one of the things that we've noted is the legislation, and we've talked about it here on the air, that's passed the House and the Senate in Missouri. It's awaiting the governor's signature. It would create innovation zones and would create some incentives for downtown development. Do you think that will be a tool that you'll be able to leverage?
Absolutely. And it's not just the Missouri Innovation Zone. So there's a few pieces of key legislation that have passed the legislator and are making their way to the governor's desk. So there's the restoration of the historic tax credit legislation, which has been historically a really key piece of legislation that has helped developers create equity to drive development. There's obviously a lot of historic buildings in the city of St. Louis. The restoration of the historic tax credit is it doubles down on the success of that credit and actually expands the opportunity with that credit. So that's an opportunity for tens of millions of dollars to support development, redevelopment here in downtown, for example, with the Railway Exchange building and the AT&T building as well. The Missouri Innovation Zone credit directly is pointed at large assets like the AT&T building as well. Again, leveraging tax credits and other tax incentives to enable equity to be created that's really needed. These are huge assets that require multiple levels of funding and financing and creative strategies to make these projects work. And so those pieces of legislation are absolutely critical to contributing to the economic success of St. Louis's downtown.
What do you need to do to make the structure more streamlined for developers, to make it easier and more understandable for a developer to come in and know that this is what they're going to get when they do business in the city of St. Louis?
There is a development can be challenging on its own, and there's a lot of moving parts. There's a policy environment that we have in the city of St. Louis that is aimed at making sure development is equitable and inclusive, and those are great policies and we need those policies. And I think one of the things that can help with some of those policies to make it easier for developers is to make sure that the information that a developer is getting in terms of being in compliance with some of those policies is the same information that's maintained throughout the entirety of the development process, to avoid a situation where a developer may be surprised at the end of a development where they go to close out their project and take advantage of some of the incentives that they've been awarded, that they have a real opportunity to do that and aren't caught off guard because of the way that the compliance was being applied.
One last quick question for you. You know, interest rates have been an issue for anyone, wanting to invest. How do we overcome that? Is that tax incentive piece?
Absolutely. And this has been a really challenging development environment for a long time. After the pandemic, construction costs have continued to go up in a large way. We have an unpredictable interest rate environment. Interest rates have gone up as well. And so those two things are enough to make really challenging projects that are large and historic and require a lot of investment even more challenging. So absolutely having the restoration of the historic tax credit legislation that expands on a successful program that creates an opportunity for more tax credit equity to flow into these key assets. The Missouri Downtown Economic Stimulus Act is another part of the Missouri Innovation Zone legislation that, again, these are creative tools that enable these important assets and developers who are developing these important assets to draw on other sources of equity to support the development, because the environment is extremely challenging right now. So those two pieces of legislation will absolutely help in a major way in the redevelopment of our downtown.
Well, we hope to have you back on maybe in a few months to see how things are going.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Especially with the ARPA funds. So Stephen Westbrooks, President and CEO of the St. Louis Development Corporation, thanks for coming on KMOX today.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next on Total Information AM, there are a number of apps out there that use AI to provide therapy. Guess what? Our teenagers are using them, and some of the experts say it's not a great idea for them. We're going to have more on that coming up here on KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch Stadium May 29th, and we are kicking off the weekend early. I'm Tom Ackerman. Join me for a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams. Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th, a free event. Must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. I've known the president of McKelvey Homes, Jim Brennan, for years, and McKelvey Homes gives back to the St. Louis community. They do this for every home that they sell. 1898, the year they were founded, $1,898 goes to a nonprofit every time they sell a home. McKelvey's known for quality and for taking care of you every step of the way. And for Jim, quality means experience and choice. You make the calls, they'll build a home that you'll love. Strawberry Farms, open in O'Fallon, east of Highway K on Mexico Road. You're going to love Strawberry Farms. Live with walking trails, a lake, wooded lots, a playground. The display is now open at Strawberry Farms. Stop by for a tour. Ask about great spring incentives and how to get up to $48,000 in savings. McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. You can also take us with you on the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. A new analysis of AI-powered mental health apps is raising big concerns about use by teenagers. Working with psychiatrists at Stanford Medicine's Brainstorm Lab, researchers conducted more than 3,000 exchanges with 5 AI therapy apps. Those exchanges covered more than a dozen conditions that affect young people, including anxiety, depression, eating disorders, self-harm, and suicidal ideation. I learned more from Robbie Torney, head of AI and digital assessments at the Common Sense Media Youth AI Safety Institute.
Common Sense Media has previously looked at what happens when teens are using chatbots like ChatGPT to talk about mental health topics, and we rated that use of AI as unacceptably risky. And this is a follow-up to that, which is asking, well, what happens when teens are using purpose-built apps? And at a high level, we find that many of these purpose-built apps that you can just download from the App Store or the Play Store have a lot of the same types of risks that we found in our previous risk assessment and are also unacceptably risky. but that there are a couple of kinds of apps that are mostly deployed through schools that are less risky and try to integrate into systems of care that are helpful for teens.
So what are some of the risks that you're seeing in some of the popular ones that are not school-based?
Yeah, so they aren't able to recognize when a person is in crisis and respond appropriately. They're not able to detect symptoms or red flags or warning flags that a person or a doctor would. So, for example, we had chatbots that would respond to signs of eating disorders with like encouragement, saying, "Hey, it's great that you're feeling great about how much weight you've lost," or chatbots responding to signs of mania by saying, "You know, that's so great that you're feeling that way." And that's not what we want. That's not what support looks like for teens. There's also a lack of accountability in the space. You know, if something goes wrong with a human therapist or with a school counselor, somebody is going to get in trouble, lose their license, be able to be held accountable. In the course of this evaluation, we had 2 apps that we were looking at that collectively served over 3 million users, many of them teens, that just disappeared from the App Store or the Play Store. And there's no one that's accountable when something goes wrong with one of these apps.
For parents, how in the world do you navigate this space?
Yes, unfortunately, the responsibility is on parents right now because our assessment shows that this is very much a Wild West. Anyone can say that they have a therapy app. Anyone can put AI in an app and market it. So there's definitely the need for regulation in this space so that the burden isn't on parents. I think our research and research from others like the Kaiser Family Foundation shows that many teens are already using AI or therapy apps on their phones. About 30% is the exact number there. So having parents start conversations with their teens, with their kids about, you know, why they might want to get support from a chatbot and why that type of support might not be safe or look different than the type of support that they would get from a person or from a peer or a trusted adult is the right first conversation to have to approach it from a place of education and leaning in.
Robbie, you mentioned there are a couple of school-based apps that were looked at as well. What made them different?
I think the first is, you know, when we modeled being in crisis, when our testers simulated crises on these apps, we got a phone call from a real person within 15 minutes on our parent account saying, hey, like your child may be in trouble. You should go check in with them. And the companies were also able to contact our school-based account to give them a heads up too. And that's a really different type of experience than we got engaging with these other chatbots where you might get a crisis text line or you might not, or it might tell you to call, but there isn't really any follow-up. So I think that ability to recognize when a teen might be in trouble and connect them with real world support is a very meaningful and different approach. One of the apps that we evaluated is called Sonar. They serve about 25,000 students, and it's just a different approach where kids aren't actually talking to an AI chatbot at all. They're texting or chatting with a real human, a well-being coach, and that well-being coach is being supported by AI. So these fundamentally different ways of thinking about the role of AI in therapy conversations with young people can be less risky.
Robbie, where can families go to find more information on the work of the Youth AI Safety Institute?
Families can go to institute.commonsensemedia.org, or they can search for our Common Sense Media Youth AI Safety Institute risk assessments. We'll have a lot more content coming out over the upcoming year, but Common Sense Media also has a wealth of parenting advice and guidance and tips about AI and young people.
That is Robbie Torney with the Common Sense Media Youth AI Safety Institute. Tomorrow, of course, it's Wednesday, and it's time for our weekly talk with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, so we hope you'll join us tomorrow here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
A simple goal for your next checkup could save your life. New research published in The Lancet shows that reversing prediabetes can slash the risk of heart attack and early death by half. Experts say that returning blood sugar to normal levels levels creates a legacy effect, protecting the heart for decades. Diet and exercise remain key, with doctors stressing blood sugar control is just as vital as managing your blood pressure or cholesterol. I'm Margie Schaefer.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At